Everybody, welcome to episode 122 of the Toys for Games podcast. We are recording this on a Thursday night, July 27th, 2017. I am one of your hosts, Josh Brown. I am joined by the man who is in an empty movie theater awaiting the premiere of the Emoji Movie, Jason Greer. Hi, Jason.
Good evening, Josh. How are we doing tonight?
Fantastic. Probably better than you are about to watch that movie.
Dude, I can't wait, man.
What's the Rotten Tomato score now?
Still 0%.
Okay, perfect.
It's 0 for 22.
Nice.
Top critic right now is New York Post, Mr. Johnny Olensky, whose review is, "Hear that? It's the end of the world."
What's the lowest rated movie ever on Rotten Tomatoes?
There's a couple of, 0%, I thought.
Okay.
I thought for a while, Click was from Adam Sandler.
Really? It got that bad reviews?
No, that's at 32%. There was definitely an Adam Sandler one that was
Jack and Jill?
down. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, let me see what his highest rated movies. No, we don't want that. Ridiculous 6 is at a 0%.
Oh, okay.
Jack and Jill's at 3%. Yeah, that was a big one, I remember.
See, I don't know if I would count, straight to Netflix movies, though.
That's true.
You know, it feels like there's less responsibility for the movies to be decent because you already got paid by Netflix for it, you know?
Right.
Whereas you put out a movie in the movie theater, you're banking on something. And, I feel like getting a 0% with a movie theater release is far different spectrum than a 0% for a straight to Netflix type of movie.
I'm Googled worst reviewed movies on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And there's a list of Wikipedia of movies that have a 0.
Ooh.
Which some of these only have 5, because it's all the movies, so they didn't categorize all the reviews.
Okay.
So there's some movies in here I'm scrolling through, you might only have 4 or 5 number of reviews.
Sure.
Currently, apparently, there's 400 of them on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I wonder because you said that this one already has 22 reviews, so there has to be some sort of cutoff of a minimum amount of reviews for it to count as a solid 0%.
Right. Yeah, because some of these have a couple, but there are some some of these big ones I haven't heard. Cabin Fever, 2016.
Oh yeah, the remake of Cabin Fever.
Oh right, yeah.
It was a shot-for-shot remake. No reason for it at all. It was the exact same movie, just shot for shot, scene for scene, exactly the same, just different actors and slightly better camera.
Joe Dirt 2, Crackle exclusive.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
I didn't watch it, but oh boy,
it was. I don't think I got through it. I think I started it and I'm just no. I have better things to do with my life.
I remember how people were I don't say I was excited, but I was oh, this is gonna be fun. Nope.
No. There was nothing that was gonna be fun about it. Nothing. One is hard to watch all the way through. Now
here's the thing. Have you watched any of the trailers for or commercials for the Emoji Movie?
I think I've seen one trailer. And I was just it's different than I thought, but not in a good way.
And literally when I first saw it, I'm okay, this actually might have a chance to be a surprise.
Right.
And when I watched the first trailer, I'm all right, they're gonna make him poop jokes every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm all right, that wasn't very funny. But I will admit, did you see the clip where he's running away and hits the people in the wheelchairs?
No, I don't think so.
So he's running away from something and runs into emoticons, the semicolon with a parenthesis, the old way of making faces.
Right.
And they're old people in wheelchairs, and he falls over, and he's oh, I'm sorry, I feel so bad for hurting old people. And one guy's ow, my colon, for semicolon. Mm-hmm. I'm okay, that actually made me laugh. But I was I don't know if they might just be throwing all their hits at once. But
yeah.
I was to be fair, I did laugh at that clip.
Sure. The unfortunate part, for every good joke that there is that, there's 20 others that are just vomit-inducing, horrible, god-awful jokes. And that's the problem with the movie, I'm sure. All my kids want to see it, and that's the first
That's the
sign that
thing.
it's not worthy of seeing.
Because I guess, like, what? Despicable Me 3 might be the only other family movie out-ish right now?
Yeah, pretty much.
So,
Yep. I recently, speaking of family movies, recently watched that Trolls movie that came out.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it on Netflix. My daughter was watching it.
Right.
And when it came out, I was like, oh, God, why would you do that to the Trolls, you know? And then, you know, came and went from the movie theaters, and then got released, and then came out on Netflix. And I was just like, no, I'm not watching this dumb Trolls movie. Like, the thing that put me off right off the bat was finding out that there was a bunch of YouTube quote unquote celebrities as random troll voices in the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's not a good sign. Watched it, way better than I thought it would be. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and animation, top notch. Like,
it's pretty good.
Hair physics, really good. Textures, really good. Like, they put a lot of time and effort into making it visually super appealing, and I appreciate that.
And it's funny because, like, I think, like, DreamWorks, like, sometimes they come out with, like, man, they're right up there with Disney with some of their stuff.
Yeah.
And there are times it's just like, what the frick are you doing?
Yeah. Sometimes they just throw something out there real quick. They have, like, an A team and a B team.
It's true.
You know, like Disney has like Disney Animation and Pixar, and like they, you know, alternate back and forth. DreamWorks has like DreamWorks A and DreamWorks B.
Yeah.
And that B squad is hit and miss sometimes. That, something fierce.
But I mean, they haven't been too bad. Like recently, let's see, Captain Underpants. I haven't seen it, but apparently, it actually got good reviews for it.
Yeah.
Boss Baby, same thing. Heard it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Trolls.
Saw that at the cheap theater a couple weeks ago, and it was pretty good. Alec Baldwin is really
Kung
good.
Fu Panda 3.
Ooh, forgot about that one.
And I think it let's see, 87% Rotten Tomatoes. So apparently it's too bad. Home, which I heard was hit miss.
Yeah, it was.
Penguin Madagascar.
I didn't like the alien.
How to Train Your Dragon 2. Mr. Peabody and Sherby. Turbo. Turbo got bad. I actually like Turbo because it's basically DreamWorks version of the Cars.
Right. Shocking.
And like the cruise and yada yada yada. But yeah, so like they hit it out of the park sometimes.
Yeah, not bad. They're getting there. Much better than they used to be back in the day. I'll say that much.
Top 3 grossing movies for DreamWorks. Can you guess?
I bet. Let's see, Shrek 3.
It's number 2.
Ooh, okay. Is one of the other 2 Shreks movies?
It's Shrek 2 is number 1.
Okay.
Shrek the Third is number 2.
Okay.
Shrek Forever After is number 3.
Nice. Okay.
And Shrek, like the regular Shrek's down to like number 12, I think.
Well, that was before people had confidence in it, you know.
Right.
Once you get to like the sequel, people start paying a little bit more attention. Except when we're talking about Cars 2. And then it's just like, maybe we shouldn't have gone this far.
See, like Kotaku or something wrote an article like defending it this week.
Why? Really?
Yeah.
Nobody needs to do that. Like, let's just
like,
forget it happened.
Yeah, he's like, no, you know what? I'm gonna bring that back up. It wasn't a bad movie. It's like a month or 2 after, like
Disney forgot that it happened. Like, I'm pretty sure they retconned all of Cars 2 out of the universe.
There's not a single appearance in Cars 3.
Goodness gracious. Speaking of Disney, Jason. Actually, before we get to that, I want to thank our show sponsor, as always, the wonderful, the amazing Devin Lachinsky. You can find him on his YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/DLASCH2. That's the number 2. Thank you, Devin Lachinsky, and thank you to everybody that supports us on Patreon. Jason, Disney-related topics. You've been busy the last couple weeks, my friend. You went across the country over to my time zone, which is really weird texting with you late at night. Because usually I avoid that because usually you're 3 hours ahead of me and you're sound asleep. Yep. So texting with you in the right time zone was unusual. But you flew over to SoCal for a little thing that we like to call D23. How was that, my friend?
It was good.
Tell us about it.
One, I'll say 2. You can always text me.
I know.
Texting is silent. You can just don't call me, 'cause that'll wake me up.
Oh, when we call each other,
It's
big.
It's big news.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super good. I was like super nervous about it all for like going into it. I was like trying to keep expectations low, and like it's a lot that happens.
Sure. And
then like a little like we right before we recorded, like I said, I just flipped the switch and was ready to go. Almost had travel issues on the way out.
Naturally.
Surprised no one.
Yeah.
Because I stopped. I know I told you, but I don't know if I heard on the podcast. But I was stopping to see my friend Eric in Chicago.
Right. Who was going with you?
Who's going with me.
Right.
And coincidentally, was not planning the way it worked out. Was the flight I was on, that plane was actually going to be the plane that was going to go out from Chicago that he was going to get on. So I was like, oh, sweet. I only have to get off the plane. Like, I'm just going to sit there and he's going to come on. I'm like, hey, man. And so I go to check in my bag and everything. And the lady's like, all right, final destination Chicago. I'm like, no, it's going to LAX. She's like, that's not what this says. I'm like, that's what my confirmation says. And so I'm showing to her. And she's like, oh, we can't, our system's not set up to do that. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you're going to get off the plane and, like, grab your luggage and get back on. I'm like, what? I'm like,
onto the same plane.
Yeah, I'm like, but it's, like, the same plane. I'm like, literally the same vehicle. Like, the same vessel. Like, I was like, can't you just, like, print out my boarding pass from there and just slap that on there? I'm like, it's going to be the same difference.
That almost seems more complicated for their system.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, and she's like, well, we changed it. And I'm like, well, I called, support, and they said it was fine. She's like, they wouldn't have said that. I'm like, well, they did, so I don't know what to tell you. And she's like, well, let me call again, but I'm going to tell you what they said. I'm like, all right. And so she calls, blah, 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 and she's like, oh, it's the same plane. And she's like, I'm like, that's exactly what I told you. And then she, like, gave me a lecture. She's like, you're lucky it's the same plane. I'm like, well, I knew that. That's why I, kind of knew it was going to be okay.
Right.
And so
it's not a luck thing. It's a I planned ahead type of thing.
Yeah. So then,
real talk. Yeah. How close were we to seeing you on the news as the next person dragged off of an airplane?
Well, we'll get there in a second.
Okay. We're not even done with this.
No. So, I get my boarding pass to go over, and we land, everything's fine in Chicago, and then the lady's like, hey, everybody, chill on the plane, because they got to count heads, make sure nobody's taking like a free trip out to LA.
Sure.
And update the log and everything. All right, so I'm chilling in my seat, and because Southwest there's no reserved seating, so I was going to make sure. I was kind of nervous. I was going to sit next to like two people who were going to like LA, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to have to change seats to find someone for Eric. And thankfully, there's only like 7 of us. I think they were continuing on.
Okay.
And so we're sitting there, and then the lady came on, and she's like, hey, sorry to do this to y'all, but we're actually going to deboard the plane, and we're going to get on a different plane to continue on, but we'll load you guys first before even priority and everything else, just to get everything set. Goodness. And she's like, but we have everyone's name, just show them your driver's license or photo ID or whatever, and you're good to go. So I get off the plane, and I was texting Eric, telling him that like we landed, blah, 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 and I didn't tell him we were getting off the plane, so I just showed up. I was like, hey, man. He's like, what the frick are you doing off the plane? I was like, I was kind of bored. But, so I told him, so we waited for a while, and they cleaned it. I think they're having some, he thought they said something was wrong with the wing. I think they said something with the restroom. Either way, both important.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So finally we get, like, all right, everybody come up. So everybody's checking in. There was one guy I was talking with a lot who was on the plane. I was transferring over, so I was talking to him again. I go to show up and show my ID, and she's like, you're not on this flight. I'm like, what are you freaking talking about? She's like, you got off the Baltimore flight? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're not on my list. And I was like, well, let me show you my boarding pass. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's right. They take it when you get on the plane.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a continuation boarding pass because I wasn't supposed to get off the plane, so I had, like, no paperwork. And I'm like, and the guy behind me is like, no, he was on the plane. I saw him. I'm like, I appreciate it, but they're not going to explain. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, that's totally okay then. Thank you, sir.
So she goes through. So anyway, she goes back on the list and like on the computer and finds me, and it says on there. I'm like, okay, good, because I was like, what am I supposed to do? So thankfully got on, and I was like, when we got to the place, I told Eric, I'm like, I'm kind of nervous my luggage is not going to be here. Like it's going to be in like Nevada, you know?
Right.
So
in Chicago still.
I pre-planned even before we got. Like, before the luggage issue, that my carry-on had, like, 2 days worth of clothes, because I was like, something's just bad that's going to happen, you know? Like, I'm just knowing my track record. I'm like, I'm not messing around anymore.
Right.
But thankfully they showed up. Everything was fine.
That's good.
So got out there, had a real cool guy who was our Uber driver, dropped us off at the hotel, got there at like 12 o'clock, so our room wasn't ready yet. They were nice and let us keep our luggage there, and met up with Brett and went to California Adventure.
Nice.
Had good fun. Made my quick video that I think a lot of people appreciated. So I thought that was pretty creative. Amy said she was busting up laughing watching it.
She's the only opinion that counts.
Because she thought I was just going to be like changing to like a big facial expression.
Right.
And then, like a change complete outfit kind of thing.
Yeah.
The funniest thing, which I don't think it's even on the extended cut, because I was kind of like, I told Eric to keep recording just to make sure like everything worked out fine. But this lady was like watching us and trying to figure out what we were doing, and was just busting up laughing. And it's like, she's like, "That's hilarious!" Like the screen from her side. But yeah, some are good. Went to Disneyland one day, or California Adventure did one day, and then went to Disneyland the next day. Had good fun. Had my Monte Cristo, of course. Super good. Was bummed that like the railroad's still closed.
Right.
A couple of things were opening back up. Got our free trading cards, which were pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to get one, like from each cast member kind of thing, like one per person.
Sure.
But there was like a manager cast guy, and he was like, "You need to get two." He's like, "That way you can frame it on both sides." And he's like, "Which ones are you missing?" So he gave us like three of them. Like he had like other ones available on him for some reason. So he's just like, "Oh, here's these." I'm like, "All right." So then we completed 2 sets pretty quickly. So those were nice. But yeah, so we got to D23. Then
I don't know if you're going to talk about more of the parks, like if you're going to go back and forth, but you did get to see like the debut of the new Fantasmic show, correct?
Yeah, that was after D23.
After 23. Okay, but you were there that night.
Yes.
Okay.
It opened Monday.
Right.
Officially.
Right.
Which you were not going to be there for.
Right. But you saw it beforehand.
Yeah, on the preview night.
Okay. The reason I ask is the HR lady at my work, who is a big fan of Disneyland, I've talked about her before, she was down there. She flew in Saturday and was there at the parks like all week type of thing.
Sure.
But she saw the Fantasmic show also in the preview night.
Oh, really?
And she was saying how she was sitting next to these two guys who were clearly had just come back from D23, and she badly wanted to talk to them about like how D23 was and like the whole thing, but they were putting off like this vibe of like, please don't talk to me type of thing. Like, I don't want to talk about it. But she's like, I just wanted to ask them, and like my husband was saying, like, just ask them, just talk to them, they'll be fine. But she was like, they just looked like they clearly didn't want to talk, and I was sitting there, I was like, I wonder.
It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't us. We were with Dan. It was me, Dan, and Eric.
Okay.
And we were all just like cracking jokes the whole time.
I was thinking, I was like, Jason is pretty approachable. I don't think he's ever been in the position where like somebody wouldn't want to talk to him.
No.
But I was like, man, that would be so funny though.
That would be really funny. Do you know which night she went?
I don't know. I don't remember now.
We went Saturday night. We went Saturday night.
Okay. I thought she said it was her first night that she got there, which was Saturday, so...
Yeah, we went to Saturday 10:30 showing.
Okay.
Yeah. 10 or 10:30. But Eric loves all the nighttime stuff, like the parades, the fireworks shows, any kind of stuff like that.
Sure.
Legit, like a kid on Christmas morning, so... He was as far as opposite from approachable at that point, man. Had a big old smile on his face. So I just kind of like, he's like, because it's very crammed in there when they do it, especially like this one's grand opening. So he's like, "Can you see? Do you want to be behind me?" I'm like, "Eric, just you get the best view, and I'll work with it. You are much more excited to see it than me, and I'm excited." But I was like, "You just do you."
Sure.
But yeah, so we went to D23 Friday. We're debating how early we want to get there. Show floor opens up at 9.
Okay.
Last year it opened up at 10. And then they let gold members in at 9. But this year they're letting everybody in at the same time. And if you have a D23 gold membership, you got like this priority seating kind of thing. So that was they swapped the benefit around, because I think it just got too confusing last year for who got what, where, and when. I think people got mad why there's a certain line moving and they weren't, that whole thing.
Sure.
So So we ended up getting in line at like 5, I think 5:30
a.m.
A.m. Because they said if you got there after 6, you had to wait outside. But if you got there before 6, you could wait inside. Obviously, space, limiting.
Yeah.
We got there and we missed it by like several hundred people probably.
Oh, wow.
So there's already people outside.
How early do you think people got there?
I know there's people waiting out the night before, like afternoon before. But that wasn't too many. It was probably like 200 people or so, maybe, who were waiting at like 2 o'clock the day before, I'm like, it's way too hot to deal with that kind of shenanigans,
Mm-hmm.
And like you get like a 10-minute head start, like nothing like hugely crazy, you know.
Right.
And again, most of those people are the people who are trying to buy stuff, and either A, for themselves, or B, flip it to pay for their trip.
Sure.
But so we got there, and it was actually kind of nice. They last year and every year they have like this disorganized line that goes from like the convention center and wraps around, and it's just like it's super chaotic and uncontrollable.
Yeah.
This year they did screening metal detectors, which is the first time they've ever done that. And I told Eric that's also why I want to get there early. I'm like, this sounds bad because like last year there were only like 2 people scanning badges, so it took like hours to get in. So I'm like, they're going to screw this up with this metal detector and have like 2 lines open trying to feed 7,000 people plus in,
right,
that are waiting outside. So I'm like, we need to get there early and deal with this. So in front of the convention center is this big, beautiful courtyard area that I think they typically park food trucks and stuff. But I'm like, people have said all the time, like, why don't you use that area to queue versus trying to make like a single file line wrap around and all kinds of chaos,
Mm-hmm.
And so they finally this year used it, and it worked out so much better. Just like spot in front of it, they would have squares, and they'd cram people into those squares, and then like they would dismiss one square at a time. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Through.
Sure.
So it wasn't like your individual line, but you're in this little box. But again, it was a little bit more controlled. They can control how many people are moving at a time. You could kind of see, how many people are in front of you. Like it felt the best they could do. It felt reasonable. Well, anyways, they're done. Column 1 just finished up, and column 2, which is next, they start filling from there. We just missed column 1, but column 2 was great. They moved to the front, so we actually got to go to the front and got to see all the action in front of us, like doing TV interviews with John Lasseter. Like we were on TV like 2 or 3 times. So it actually worked out well because a lot of people have been in the back, like 100 yards away.
Sure.
So we're same spot in line. We're just now closer to the front and seeing it. But there's a lot of people who were there. There's different ranks of Disney people. There was people in just blue T-shirts, which is like the people who signed up and got like 30 minutes of training that morning, and they're showing up going to get mutilated.
Sure. Yep.
And then there was some people in polos, which are like the next step up, and there was people in polos with the headsets, which they were like the managers of it all. And then there was people in like your nice like shirt and tie without like the tie, but just like the people you could tell who are like the people,
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, they're saying about they should compact. And a couple of the people are like, all right, let's compact both columns. And I'm like, no. Because what's going to happen then is people who are getting after us are now going to be getting in front of us because they're going to be compacting column 1, and that's you're now going to be inserting people in the middle of the column. And thankfully, one of the higher up guys like, no, you can only compact column 2 because that will still be filling people in correctly. And I'm like, okay, don't start pulling this shenanigans on me. So anyways, they moved it, and one guy, which I sent him an email, there's 2 people who had it under control, who did a really, really good job. And obviously it wasn't the people who were getting the 30 minutes of training. Because those people, I don't know if they were like Disney employees or not, or if they're just like people, like I don't know what benefits they get for doing this and putting their lives on the line.
Right. A daily paycheck, that's what.
Yeah, I guess so.
And all the churros they could eat.
And it's funny because like they're telling them the rules and stuff, and they're like, okay, and so they're going and like those people are being like super tight on the rules, like enforcing stuff that like they never enforced at the expo. Like it's there so they could choose to enforce it if like someone's being obnoxious, they can use as a rule. And they're like going right to the beginning of the line. People have been waiting like 14 hours. I'm like, you gotta tell them like this is not the part where you should start making crowd choices. Like really you should just be like answering where the bathrooms are. Like you should be the ones trying to enforce rules.
You would think.
But yeah, we got in like 15 minutes after show floor open because I have to queue the bottom first and like the sorcerer's in, all yada 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 yada. So eventually we got in. We went through the metal detectors. There was rumors that they did the metal detectors before you got into that area, which was nice. So like you already got screened and you're already in the metal detect, like you're past metal detecting. So when they open gates, they don't have to metal detect at that point, which was brilliant of them to do because that would just unnecessarily added a bunch of extra wait time. But there's some rumors on Twitter that there was a second security checkpoint. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me!
Oh wow!
But there wasn't, thankfully. So they let us in and like went around the show floor. We're going to go and try and get a Disney, like they have fast pass for the Disney stores, and that was already probably like a 2-hour wait, and we're like, nope. And so then we went over to the Tsum Tsum booth, the vinyl Tsum Tsum, the Jack Specific, friends of the show. So we got the exclusive Buzz Lightyear metallic Tsum Tsum.
Nice.
I was like $5, I think? Or no, 12, 15? Whatever, 15 I think it was.
Woo!
Either way, was
For
too
one.
bad. For one.
Yeah.
But it came in like a nice packaging and everything.
Oh, yeah, that makes up for it.
Yeah. So, it was nice. It looks like he's in his little spaceship.
Yeah. Whatever. If you're happy.
But, yeah. And there was like a limit of like 500 per day, and I'm like, okay. And it's like each customer had a limit of 3. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So I bought 3.
Okay, sure.
1 to keep.
Yeah.
1 I might give to somebody, and 1 to do a giveaway, which will come next week.
Ooh,
so stay tuned for that. So
nice.
Didn't come empty-handed for people. Got that, and then we decided like there was a panel at 10 o'clock we wanted to go to. So I was like, you know what, we got to go right upstairs to that because it was like 9:30ish, and I was trying to get to that DuckTales thing where you dive into the money pit, and that was already capped at like 9:30. And I'm like, all right, well we're not going to get through that, so I might as well just go up to the panel. Went upstairs, got to the panel, tweet out a picture. And, like, literally the person in front of me, like, turned around and gave me this look. And I'm like, hello? She's like, are you Jason Inquires? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, my gosh, I follow you on Twitter. I'm like, oh, hey. And she's like, I was just scrolling and just was like, wait, that's me in the picture. So I was talking to her, so that was fun. And then Tyler from one Disney Infinity people was in line, so I was talking to him as well.
Cool.
Good to see him. Which is funny because, like, ran into him at E3, ran into here. Like, out of all the people, like, it's funny, I always ran into him, like, within the first 5 minutes of the place opening.
Yeah.
Always run to him.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
You guys have similar interests and you do similar things, and sure, it makes sense.
Yeah. Got inside the panel. Pirate Steven was there as well as Dan, Disney Dan. They texted, and so we met up with them, so we sat with them.
Pirate Steven wearing the hat?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Because, look, it kind of weirds me out when he doesn't.
Yeah, when I see pictures, I'm like, that's not...
Stop it.
Yeah. Especially at like a Disney Expo. Like, he's got to stay on brand.
Sure. Good.
So we went there. So it was this parks, or it was like celebrating, I forget the full title. It was like celebrating products past and future and whatever. And the one I said on our last podcast I was hoping to go for. And they said they were like going to give away some stuff. And I'm like, all right, let me be clear on this. I was not even expecting even close to the amount of stuff they gave us.
Right.
It was unbelievable.
You were excited to find out, but...
Yeah. Now, I was excited just for the panel, let alone the free stuff.
Right.
And they showed some history of different things. They debuted some new things. They showed off the Disney store of the future, like what Disney stores are going to look like in the future.
Okay.
That they're actually going to start rolling out with a store in California, I think, opening in August. And they're going to reformat all the other stores, and then because I guess it's been the same format for the last like 7 years or so. Spoiler alert: I don't like it, to be honest. And I'm one who likes change. It's kind of laid out like an Apple store now, so it kind of doesn't feel like when I walk into a Disney store now, like I just feel the Disney magic as soon as you walk in.
Sure.
Because it's like I like the paintings on the wall. Like mine has like a tree in it, like different designs to it. This one's just very bright and feels like an Apple store. And it's easier to shop, but I'm like, I don't need to be easier to shop. I want to feel like I'm somewhere magical.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you want that from everything Disney related. Right,
so I personally don't like it. But the one thing that is nice is they have a big, huge screen in the middle of the store, at least in this one, at this, secret store they're working on. And it's going to have a live stream from the parks, specifically for, like, the parades and stuff. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. So you can, like, watch the parades live from a Disney store. But here's my thoughts. If they, like, debut, like, when they roll out new parades or fireworks show, if they have events there, like, I'm 100% bringing my chair and I'm just going to show the Disney store. Like, that'd be so fun.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So I'm hoping they do that kind of stuff, but we'll see. But yeah, and at the end of it, they're like showing off their stuff, and they like show what they're putting in our bag. But I'll try to do a quick rundown of what we got in this bag.
Okay.
We got like a tote. First of all, just that tote that was in it. We got a Hasbro Star Wars lightsaber from like that new lightsaber like build your own lightsaber kit.
Sure.
Like you got like the standard lightsaber. Got a red Mickey Mouse hat. Got a Star Wars necklace. A Snow White necklace. A Star Wars book. A book that's not out yet. So you got like a preview copy. Which is random. Like I got like one of the kids learning ones, but they're giving out some like coloring books and also like an actual Star Wars novel, like canon book.
Nice.
They gave out let me think through here. A nice lithograph, which I haven't opened mine yet. But I'm excited for that. Mine's of Up. It looks really cool, so I'm gonna get that framed.
So different people got different things. I mean, all the same things, but
different versions. Okay. Yeah. So like Eric gave me all the necklace, the girl necklace things because he doesn't need them and he doesn't have a girlfriend or anything. So I gave them to Amy. And it was
but one day, Eric, one day we're pulling for you, buddy.
Yeah, right. But it was funny. He got like a necklace and I got like the wristlet. So it actually was like a matching like two different ones. So Amy was like, she's like, oh, you got me one of each. I'm like, yeah. But then the capstone of it, like we got all this cool stuff. Oh, the Spider-Man mask. We got like an official like plastic Spider-Man mask thing. Sure. Which Dan broke in literally 15 seconds.
Naturally.
Because he literally wanted to be the first person to put it on. Broke it.
Goodness.
But then when they're showing the Disney store, they're like, hey, to celebrate like the new Disney store, we want you to like go check it out. Here's a $50 Disney gift card.
Wow.
And I'm like, goodness gracious. So I was like, all right, there's probably like a 50 off 100, like they're going to do like one of those cheap moves. Nope. It's a straight $50 gift card that's only valid at a physical Disney store or online. It doesn't work like any of the stores in the expo and doesn't work at any of the stores in the parks. You have to be like the official Disney store.
That's cool.
And like expires like next year, but I'll use $50 in that time. Don't you worry.
Well, I mean, will you? Weren't you telling me how you randomly found Disney gift cards that you hadn't used that were just sitting there at the bottom of a drawer or a box or something?
Potentially.
Okay.
So that was really cool. Then we went around, did a couple other things. And that was the thing. Last time we didn't do any side panels. We did the main store because we felt completely overwhelmed.
Sure. Well, you also spent a lot of time waiting in lines for like the stores.
Right. And this time we had like a little bit better, feeling what we wanted to do. So I forget what we did after that. I think we ate lunch maybe real quick, and then we went downstairs to check out the Pixar and Disney animation panel, which starts at like 3:30, 2:30, something like that.
Yeah.
And we're checking at like we went at like 12 o'clock, and last year we didn't go to last time at like 1 o'clock, and there's still like plenty of space. So we're like, all right, let's go down and see what they're doing this year, because you get like that gold member exclusive line. Right. See if we get like a wristband, because then we could get that and leave, different things. So just go and check it out. And this is when the crap went down.
Oh, this is the one. Okay.
Yeah. So this was. I was not planning on trying to be like a journalist, unquote.
Is this the first like big panel that they had of the show?
They had the Disney Legends panel, which is like the introducing people to Disney Legends, and they had like Mark Hamill there.
Yeah, okay.
Imagine like so, and that gets pretty big. Like people get excited for that because it's a lot. Like Oprah Winfrey was there. I think was she. No, I think Whoopi was there, and I think she was a surprise guest.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think Oprah was advertised. There's always a surprise each time.
Sure.
That's kind of big, and like Brett got there at like 6 for like the 10 o'clock panel, and it was getting tight on space at that point. So it was a higher demand one.
Okay.
Because some people just like being in the same room, and seeing.
Yeah.
Seeing people from afar.
Okay.
Eric and I were like, that'd be fun, but they always record that one and always put it on YouTube. So we're like, we're not really like I don't feel like I have to be in the room for that one.
You don't need to be in the presence of greatness.
Yeah, right. Don't have to be in the room where it happens. Hamilton quote. So we went down and like we got in there and it looked like crap was already going down. And I'm like, Eric, what the fudge is going on down here? And I'm like, there's already people like half the room was filled almost. But there's already people lining up in the overflow section, And I'm like, what the frick? I'm like, this should not be happening at all. And I was like, I'm like, let's just get lined up. Let's figure it out. And go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So basically how to describe it, it's basically like a giant hangar almost. It's like a basement area, like a big, long, I don't know how big it is. It's bigger than a football field.
Okay.
And in the middle, long way, is like these metal barricades with like a blue curtain over it, just at like waist level. So that kind of divides the room. And then there's like 3 or 4 entrances that's typically manned by a Disney employee, to check your wristbands, to make sure you already went in, make sure you're not just butting in line, stuff like that.
Sure.
And there's 3 sections that you can get into the main arena. And there's A, B, and C. B is the middle, like facing directly to the stage. A and C, you sit at an angle. Either A, looking at the stage, sometimes you have to watch the screen because it's like you can't really even see the stage, so your better view is to look at because there's big, huge video screens inside. So it is kind of weird, like when that happens, because like, why am I even here? I'm really just watching a YouTube, screen. But you still like feel the energy in the room, and you can kind of still look over. But
sure.
So typically B fills up the quickest because people want to be, facing in the center.
Yeah.
And then when they take you up these escalators, and then they just queue you in, so you don't really get to choose where you sit. They just kind of make a snake chain. So you like actually might not have a good seat, even though you're like farther up, because again they're just filling in as quick as possible, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Anyways, like a third of it, maybe not really a full half, is already lined up. And I'm like, Eric, why is there so many people lined up for the Pixar live action panel already? Like, and it's obviously more people are at this D23 than last time, but I was like, shouldn't it be this much? And I'm like, maybe those people couldn't get into Legends, so they're like, forget it, we're just gonna stay down here for like, and just wait for the next panel. I'm like, but still, that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm getting kind of nervous. So they're queuing us up in the overflow, which is like they literally just tape out lines on the floor. So when you get to section B, like in this overhang, they just tell you to sit in like a row, and it's pretty deep, like it's 20 yards deep or whatever it is.
Okay.
And so you fill up the row, and then you fill up the next row, fill up the next row, yada yada, and it's like 20 or 30 rows deep. And so they lined us up in this queue line and overflow line, which is the same thing, but we're standing up, and then like they'll fill up a queue line, fill up the next line, fill up the next line, and then they'll bring the the left line down, process them, let them go sit down, then they come grab the next line. It's kind of like a snake per se.
Okay.
The problem is something happened, which Eric read something on Twitter, something about clearing it, something about breaking fire codes, something weird that they didn't do. Well, anyways, I guess they were like behind on this. So they're like, hey, let's not wristband people. We'll just process people quicker by not putting wristbands on people. Mistake number 1. So they're like, all right. So I guess they're processing people through. So they're taking people, and they're trying to do it orderly fashion. They're taking the 30 to 40 people at each row at a time, taking them over, letting them choose what section they want to go in, talk to the Disney employee, they get the rules about staying here, yada, 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 go sit down. Then for some reason they would wait a while. Why they weren't like constantly processing people, to this moment I still don't know. So they're doing it, and the problem is they're starting to get backed up. So each row they're clearing out 20 to 30 people, 60 to 70 to 80 people are joining. Okay. So the overflow is now getting bigger, like to the point where there's no more queue to wait in the overflow, even though they're not full yet. So then the guy, who I don't think was one of the Polo people, I think he was one of the T-shirt guys, was like, hey, I'm just going to clear 5 lines at once. I'm just going to take all 5 lines over, which if we're walking straight, that's fine. But we're kind of walking at like a big curve over, and as soon as you get people who are in lines to try and stay in the lines, it's not happening. So it kind of made like a mush of people, and even at that point, shouldn't be too bad. We should say I'll have plenty of space. So anyways, they're trying to process people through, still no wristbands. Well, anyways, people see this mob, so people, again, in mob mentality, and behind us are like, oh my gosh, they're running out of space. So those people are like, forget, I'm not waiting this line, I'm just going to join that massive crowd. So now the nice organized overflow lines are now just one big clob of people leading out the doors to the escalators, because we're like downstairs.
Right.
And so then they're starting to have a backup on the escalators. So they're trying to shove people in places so there's not like a thing. So they cut off the people going down the escalators because they're trying to not have an accident at the bottom.
Okay.
So anyways, they're getting people loaded in. They get us in. I'm like, we're like halfway through section B. We're like plenty of space. And I'm like, this is going to get bad. So I tweeted out, and I'm like, first tweet said, just watch the disaster already of lining this up for the animation panel. I'm like, this isn't good. I forget what I said, but I'm like, I was like, we're seated. We should be good to go. We're halfway in section B. We're going to get a good seat. Whatever. We're not going to be able to eat lunch. I already snuck in a bunch of granola bars and snacks. It's fine. I'll just eat a bunch of bags of those because we had to wait for like 3 hours for this panel. So they get on the loudspeaker, and they do the whole, like, they pass out the bags. You got to put your electronics in it, you know, seal it up, yada, yada, yada. We're going to get you seated soon. They typically start an hour before the panel, okay?
Okay.
Hour goes by, 45 minutes goes by, and they're still not seating people yet. I'm like, oh, frick, we're going to run late, you know, or it's going to start cramming people up. So they start rushing people up, getting people going. For whatever reason, our section was having issues getting up the escalator. I don't know what was going on. I think our security detail, which is hired out, it's an external security company that they hire for this. I think they, again, were being too conservative. They're trying to be too organized, where this is like you have to be organized on the fly. You just have to go. So I think they were processing people up the escalator, letting them into the little theater area, getting them all seated, then taking the next row, which, again, they're already 30 minutes plus late. So I'm like watching the lock, and they're sending like one line up like every 5 minutes, like a long time.
Sure.
And I'm like looking over A and C. A and C is, you know, emptying out pretty quick. And I'm like, all right, we're going to get in there. We're going to miss the beginning. And they typically don't like do anything too big at the beginning, but they typically do something fun at the beginning. I'm like, it sucks. We're not going to be able to watch it because they don't record anything from this because there's no recording. So I'm like looking, it's like 5 minutes before the thing starts. And I'm like, they typically start a little bit late because, again, it takes a while to get everybody processed.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, they just stopped loading people. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? And I'm like, typically they stop a lot of times because, again, if the lines start backing up into the escalator, you can't, like, people can't stop on an escalator.
Yeah,
you know, so
it bottlenecks and...
Yeah. So they let that clear through. And I look around and I tell Eric, I'm like, we're not going to get up in time. And so he's like, getting kind of nervous. We're about 4 rows from being cleared. You know, It's about 3 rows in front of us still, which, again, is like 30 to 40 people, a decent amount of people still.
Yeah.
Anyways, people are starting to get a little bit antsy. They're, like, looking at their watches and everything, and like everybody's phones are sealed, so we can't really see what's going on, and like checking Twitter because media can live tweet, they just can't take pictures, and so we're like, what the heck's going on? Anyways, pretty much all of A and C is now loaded up there, and we're halfway through. So logically, what pretty much happened, people in A and C who got there some 2+ hours after us are now up there while we're waiting to try and get up there. And I'm like,
no.
And I'm like, all right, it's fine, you know, we're just backed up. If we miss 15 minutes of it, whatever. You know,
Sure.
Mistakes happen. You know, things happen. Whatever.
We've gone this far.
Right. Yeah. It is what it is. And I'm typically like a chill guy. Like I don't get, you know, whatever happens.
Well, I mean, being angry and aggressive like isn't going to make the situation better for anybody.
Right. And I'm like one of those things. I'm like they're trying best. It's not like someone's like sleeping and just not paying attention. Like you can tell people are trying to do their best. So, anyways, I'm looking around and I'm like. Nobody's moving. Like the line's laying there at the front for like 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, I hadn't sealed my bag yet. So I'm like, because I was waiting until we literally got there to seal it. So I pull out my phone and see it's like 10, 15 minutes past the beginning of the panel. I'm like, all right, well, let me check see if they started. And they started on time. So we're now 15 minutes into the panel. And I'm like, what the frick? And they're like announcing these cool things. I'm like, this sucks. We're missing this thing. All right, this sucks. Can't believe it. And again, I'm like looking around, and like you can start seeing like this one guy's looking kind of nervous. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so, and then, I'm sorry. Let me back up. I forgot one of the bigger spots. While this big queue was happening outside, like while we're waiting, like this is like an hour and a half beforehand. They're trying to get people organized on the outside overflow line. I think somebody was just innocently just leaning on that security pole in between the thing I said, the blue curtain on top of it.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's not really designed to hold weight.
Okay.
So, did you ever play Zoo-Tycoon at all?
Yes.
You know when you like delete a fence and all the animals come out?
Uh-huh.
So somebody deleted a fence that was separating us from the overflow. Right? And it was flooding in. And people were just pushing through, and there was like no Disney people around. And I'm like, I'm not about to get involved with this because again, I'm like, we're so clear, like whatever. These people are gonna get in, it sucks to be all of them, whatever. Like I'm not getting involved at this point. The funniest thing was there was like people in walkers like trying to race through this gap. You know, that was hilarious to me. These people trying to push through this tight little gap. Anyways, a Disney person comes up, gets it all sealed up. Like everybody's got to get down because they closed all the entrances except for one the way down because again they couldn't really get people organized. So they get people in there, and then like about 20 minutes later, it happens again. More people just start flooding in through this gate. And this I tell Eric, I'm like, they need to get some people down here because it's getting a little bit feisty in here because we're getting close and people are starting to get mad.
Right.
Anyways, when I start getting down, I'm seeing people. You know, so now there's people butted in front of other people. You know, in the overflow line who got in there illegally per se, but since they weren't wristbanding, there's no way to prove, you know, they got in there legitimately or not. And so when people start loading, I'm looking around. One guy's getting nervous. There's one guy in his white polo who's like the guy who gets on a loudspeaker, who's like trying to keep spirits high, and he gives the updates. He's being funny. You know, there's a guy running the show downstairs. Yeah. He was the only person I saw in a polo.
Uh-oh.
There was nobody else in charge. It was all people in like the blue t-shirts and stuff.
That's not good.
And that's why I'm like, Eric, I'm like, I don't know what to do. So the guy gets down and he gets on. He's like, hey, sorry, buddy. We're having some issues loading everybody up. He's like, but I'm going to be honest. Everybody who's in overflow, you're not getting in, which is fine. You know, you take a gamble that people, you know, you don't know, because since they weren't doing wristband accounting, you don't really know how many people are actually in there, per se.
Yeah.
Because people are spread out. So even if the rows are full, if people are taking, like, stretching out, you know, you could cram 6 more people in that line. So It's always worth, you know, sticking around if you really want to get in, like when you have to lose. So those people are like, oh, this sucks.
Energy, effort.
Yeah. So these people are like, oh, this sucks, and they left. But, you know, again, it is what it is. So then I'm like, Eric, I don't know about the overflow. I don't think we're going to get in. He's like, we better get in. I'm like, I don't think we are. And I'm like, because I'm like, they're not going to start seating people like into this panel. They're going to disrupt and it'd be obnoxious, you know. And while they're trying to security people, like their security people are looking to people for recording. It's just going to be too much of a distraction. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck's going on. And when the guy gets down on the thing, and he's like, he gets on the loudspeaker, the guy in the white polo, and he's like, I don't know how to say this, but we screwed up. We're out of seats. You guys aren't getting in.
Oh,
and it was just like, it got ugly quick. And I tweeted out, and I was like, they better get people down here quick. They just said, like, I took a picture, like a panorama of the people. It was over 1,000 people weren't getting in.
How did they screw up that bad?
I have no idea.
That's not said like a couple people.
Right. And the thing I think, there's two. One, people said media section was bigger than normal. So, like, maybe they didn't count for all that. But even
by
that.
1,000?
That's what I said. Even by that. But what I think is, since they weren't ticketing and people were just moshing in, people were compacting so much that it was a false sense of, you know, how many people were in there. But it shouldn't have affected us where we were. But since they cleared A and C, which was all those people just pushing in or cramming in, they sent all those people up, which is, you know, because the lines they make are just general lines. It's, you know, there was one time, like, another panel where they cut off out of wristbands, and there were still, like, 4 or 5 taped lines to go. They were out of people, and they just, you know, they're just taping just to tape. And so I'm like, it's going to get ugly. And there's people, like, guy who's screaming. He's like, there's people got in hours after us who are now sitting, and people are getting ugly. And I'm like, and I'm looking around, and there is no security. Like, I'm not even talking about people, like, with guns. I'm just talking, like, nobody looks at things of authority.
No,
and I'm
everybody bailed on that situation.
Yeah. And I'm like, Disney people, it's just like Nintendo people. Disney people can be really nice, but if something happens, it can get ugly quick. Yeah. Especially in, like, people who've been waiting hours for this, and they're, like, legitimately just waiting for this. Or people who have one-day tickets, and this is all they wanted to do, and they're now not going to be able to do it. And I'm like, so I'm tweeting out. I'm like, hey, Disney, you might want to get people down here, like, ASAP, because it's going to get ugly. So the guy's like, I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. So he's, like, on the phone, and there's people, like, rushing, like, heading up top, getting mad. People are just wrecking down the barricades, you know? One of them cracking me up the most. People were ripping their phones out of their pouches and checking the bags on the floor. So it's like the stream of trash on the ground.
Oh, no.
And so I'm like, all right, people are getting upset. It wasn't getting, but you could tell there's like, it's starting to boil a little bit.
Yeah.
And so Brett's like, do you want to leave? I'm like, I'm just going to stay. Because either A, something's going to happen. I want to make sure I get, like, journalized, you know? Or B, like, we're going to get some kind of, like, I just want to see what happens.
Sure.
We had no plan B. We knew we were going to get in it somehow.
Yeah.
You know, we had plenty of wiggle room. So I was like, I don't even know what I want to even do otherwise. I didn't see what panels or anything. Like, this is my schedule, so I'm just going to risk it and see what happens. And so we're staying towards the back, and everybody else is, like, starting to slowly rush forward. So the guy in the white polo is, like, trying to phone somebody, and he's trying to walk away from the group from his little stand where he could, like, control, like, what's on the TVs. So there's TVs, and they play, like, Disney movies on loop and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So he's walking around. Eric and I almost went to stop this guy. There's a guy who's trying to be, like, citizen journalist guy who's, like, so this guy in the white polo is trying to, like, talk to his bosses and stepping away. And this guy's, like, a foot in front of him, like, recording everything he's doing. Oh, I'm like, bro, this isn't, like, police brutality, government. Like, you're not going to make CNN, you know? Like,
Nobody
the guy's trying to...
past this, like, space is going to care.
Yeah, I'm like, he's trying to do his thing, and you're just being a jerk, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's like me, who's just trying to tweet and like keep things updated, and it's an interesting story, but it's not like some conspiracy thing where you have to go record this guy's, he's making a I'm like, step off, bro. You're not gonna win a Pulitzer with this thing. and so, and he's getting mad, and like we're still sitting, and people are getting, time's going by, people are screaming what's on Twitter. I'm like, oh my gosh, we missed this, and I'm like, oh man. Again, there's the people in the t-shirts, stay off to the side. They're not like, I'm not, whatever my reimbursement is not worth this.
Nope.
And again, nobody in headsets. I'm like, there's nobody. Someone needs to come down and take control. Some guy came down in like a suit, got on the thing. He's like, hey, I'm from like operations. I'm taking over. I'm like, all right, here we go. We got one guy now down here.
Where's Johnny V when you need him?
Yeah, right? Do you know where he was?
No.
He was at the Marriott at 10 o'clock street drinking at the bar.
There we go.
On Friday morning.
There we go.
And his fiance was doing cosplay, but he didn't want to go to the expo. He was at the bar at Marriott at 10 o'clock.
I love that, man.
So, anyways, he gets on. He's like, I'm going to try and figure something out. Stay with me. We'll figure something out. We apologize, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, we got somebody in control. But there still wasn't like, and everybody's up there. We're still saying back, like, I'm not getting in the middle of this mob. So 10 minutes goes by, and he gets back on the speaker. And again, he goes, all right, hey, everybody, again, my name's blah, blah. I apologize. Trying to figure out what to do. And people were like screaming, we want refunds, blah, blah. And Brett was saying, Brett being Disney Brett, he's like, the best way to do this is exchange time for time, is what they typically do for the situations. So give you something that's equal to the time you just wasted, per se. Right. So that's why they oftentimes like give you a fast pass for some other ride, which gets you to the front, stuff like that.
Putting a monetary value on time is so difficult and such a slippery slope. But yeah, a straight up time for time exchange makes sense.
It's the best thing you can do in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So he's like, the best thing they could do is give us like guaranteed seating for tomorrow, for one of the two panels tomorrow. And I'm like, I don't think they're going to do that because the parks panel I could see, but the live action panel in the morning is going to be packed as it is.
Right. How do you tell all those people who are probably in line right now that they don't get a guaranteed spot because all these schmucks over here missed out on this other, Right. And so I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do. So he gets on the speaker and he's like, we're trying to figure out. He's like, what? He's like, right now, what I'm trying to do is what he said. So not guaranteed, what I'm trying to do is get you guaranteed seating for one of the two panels tomorrow. Okay. And I'm like, oh, frick. I told Eric, I'm like, one side of me, that's great. Two, if that doesn't happen, that's now where the expectation is going to be set. And if you can't, reward that, it's going to get ugly again. And so I'm like, here we go. Also, Jeff Keighley starts tweeting out. Apparently he was down there also. So why does he not have a media badge, first of all? So like tweeting him, like, are you down? I couldn't find him. So I don't know if he was getting information secondhand and he's just trying to be, do what Jeff Keighley does. But it's just weird. I'm like, why is Jeff Keighley down here? So he's like tweeting, man, Jeff Keighley likes to see
tweeting updates too. Well, he says this guy's like operations, but he has to get like approved by like vice president of this. Like there's 8 people he has to cross get this approval for because it's a big deal to get guaranteed seating for something, because again, that's going to mess things up for tomorrow. How are they going to police it? What are they going to do to guarantee it? All kinds of stuff. So anyways, about 20, so we're like 40 minutes into the panel, halfway through this panel, and we're still waiting. And the guy gets, all of a sudden I start seeing people towards the back, like Disney employees, like get these wristbands and they're like whispering stuff, and I'm like, all right, they're giving us wristbands and they're gonna tell us to go to a part of the room. We're hanging in the back, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna hand them out next to the mob. They're gonna send us to the back. So I'm like, get ready to run because we're gonna go get this thing. So he's like, all right. He gets on the thing. He said, we're gonna give you guys guaranteed seating for tomorrow. You're gonna get a wristband, blah blah. And he's like, if you want live action, go to this one corner. If you want parks, go to this one corner. Here's the situation, though, Josh.
Okay.
Which side do you think people want? The one where cameras aren't allowed, or the panel where people are allowed to periscope it?
Boy, oh boy. You would think that they would want the more exclusive one that they couldn't watch anywhere else.
Yeah, the one where like people are waiting hours ahead of time.
Yeah.
One panel where people show up like 2 hours ahead of time and still getting seats.
Sure.
So I totally I'm with Brett, Brett's friend. What's his name? Blanking me. One of Brett's friends. And Eric and I'm like, let's freaking book it to live action. And I have a video of it, or pictures of it. I would say at least like 7/8 of the people are over in the live action, and there's like a small little corner of the parks. Yeah. And so we get in there, and Brett's friend is funny. Like, I'm on video, and these people are just running. And he's like, run, there's Godzilla behind you. the people coming, and so they're forming a single file line, right, to get these wristbands. And then the line's starting to get too big. So this other person, who I think was in a t-shirt, like, hold on, let's make a second line. And Brett's friend's like, this is how you got in trouble before. So he made like a second and third line. So now there's people like in those lines now butted in front of the people in the single file line. We are guaranteed like it, but still, like you're waiting for something else to go bad. So I tweeted. So then there's people up in the middle. He said if you had 1 day passes, come to the middle because they're still trying to decide what to do for them. Because you can't guarantee seating for tomorrow because the expo's sold out. And they probably can't offer more tickets because I'm sure some kind of fire code and, you know, all kinds of other issues.
Sure.
So I would say it was probably like 50 of them, maybe, conservative high amount.
Okay.
So anyways, so they gave us a wristband. So now I have this little plastic, like, you know, your typical wristband. I have to keep on my wrist for like 24 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Only when I'm getting this live action. I'm like, and she put it on really bad. Like, only half of the sticky stuff's actually on the wristband, the rest of it's like on my
that's
skin.
The worst.
And I'm like, I don't want to tape it because it's gonna look like I ripped it and like retape it. I'm like, oh, gosh, I have no idea what to do. So like paranoid about sleeping at night because I don't like stuff on my skin. You know, I don't even like wearing a shirt to bed, let alone a freaking wristband. And I'm like, how am I gonna shower with this on? Like the next day I showered with my arm out the freaking like I wasn't, you know, giving any chance for this thing to come off my wrist.
Right.
So
you've worked too hard for it at this point.
Yeah. So, anyways, I checked on Twitter. I never actually heard. So, if you were on Twitter or if you're affected, let me know. I never actually heard what they ended up doing for the 1 day people, because I think they're trying to do a refund thing.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
And then I think I saw on Twitter. The last I heard on video I saw is that there was some kind of legality issue that they couldn't do the refund or something, or whether somebody, again, like you said, they can't like what's a fair refund for it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I heard they were going to do like a gift bag thing, like you got some kind of physical like gift bag, which I don't know what that was even going to be filled with, you know. So I'm curious. I haven't heard officially what happened, so I tried to find. I could find. So if you saw on Twitter, tweet me, please let me know. But anyways, the video I saw, like this lady's like screaming. She's like, "No, I don't want it back. We want refunds." And the guy gets real mad. He's like, "Listen," he's like, "if you know me, I'm fair. So if you're next to me, I'll be next to you. If you're me like that, I'm not giving you nothing," or something like that. And like everybody starts like applauding. But
Sure.
they were there for like another hour after that. So I think they were there past the panel being closed. Like I said, I didn't hear what happened. So, anyways, we get out of there before the park panel's that panel's even over. We go and watch some other panel. Rest of the day, you know, is what it is. So we go home. So we were originally planning to get up at like 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock to get down there by 4 to wait like 6 hours for this live action panel because you have to. You literally have to. And so I was telling Eric, I'm like, I still want to get there kind of early because I'm afraid they're still going to mess this up somehow.
Yeah. Right.
Especially because like with the security, like are they going to let us like jump in line so we can get the security beforehand? You know, like do we have to wait for the general queue to get into the section? Yeah, like, something bad's going to happen.
What if per se they didn't communicate what these wristbands were for?
Right.
You know, like this one group of security people are giving them to this group of people that are angry and they're just trying to do it to shut them up. Come next day, whole nother group of security people, they've never seen or heard of these wristbands. They don't know what it's for. How do you convince people that are trying to do their job that
this great wristband,
it's all on the up and up, you know?
This great wristband, it's like a guaranteed seating. And so, we're trying to figure out where to go. The door to let you in, like if you got in there early enough down to the queue was closed, and there was like people standing in front of it. I'm like, oh frick, here we go. And anyways, we look towards the front, and there's like people with like different colored wristbands were being let in, and they're like, if you have a wristband, come in here. And I'm like, those aren't our wristbands, but we'll try it. So we just get in line and show our wristband and let us in. So I'm like, I guess this is the entrance.
Sure.
And we go through security, and I'm like, all right, Eric. I'm like, I'm half okay, but like still kind of nervous. And we get down there, and they're like checking all our wristbands because they were wristbanding people for that panel because they weren't going to screw that up again.
Right.
And checking wristbands, and I'm like, are we gray? Are we down here? And like, oh yeah. And they were like super nice. Yeah, to like anyone with the gray wristband. Like they were the nicest people. And oh yeah, gray. Just follow me right down here, like personally, like leading us down to
Would
where
you like
we
a bottle
go.
of water? A cold towel?
So then, like, we get down to section A, the far left section, and that was basically the gray section. And they're like, oh yeah, sit up here. They weren't like they typically tell people like don't stretch out. They're like lay down, like, relax, you know? It's like everybody's just, like, chilling down there. And, like, people right away were, like, already talking about, like, the issues. I'm like, all right, we're seated. Can we just move on? You know, like, I'm done hearing about it. You know, like, I want to talk about something else. So I, like, put my headphones in and I was playing, like, my Switch or something.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we get in, and there was, like, I would say at least 4 people in, like, suits, the nice shirts, or, like, the ladies in, like, the nice outfits, like, the high-ups were in our section. Like, they weren't messing around. Like, there was no Polo people. Like, it was just the high end. And we get up there, and as soon as we sit down, they're like, hey, is there, like, can you guys see okay? Everybody doing good? And, like, just be as nice as people as possible. And they're like, at the end of this, make sure you stay in your seat. We want to give you a gift at the end. So this is a Disney thing. They gave us a thing, and then they're going to polish on top of it.
Yeah,
you know? And I'm like, I told Eric, I said, it's probably going to be, they gave out the Coco posters, like exclusive Coco poster.
Okay.
They probably have a bajillion of them.
Sure.
But Disney, like, told Staples, like, we need 1,000 of these tomorrow. You know, like, Disney could easily order another batch and have them be there in an hour, you know? So I'm like, all right, they're probably going to give us that. But we're seated far back enough, I'm like, because we had to rush out of there and get to the parks panel, because that's in, like, 3 hours after the live action one's done. And what I was already saying is, people who waited for the live action, no matter where you were waiting outside, you're already 1,000 people behind, you know, in line.
Yeah.
So I'm like, same thing's going to happen. A lot of people are like, screw it. We already waited. Might as well wait for the parks panel, because Star Wars lands out. So a lot of people are there for Star Wars. Hey, Star Wars something, you know?
Sure.
And so, anyways, the best part of the whole thing is the guy who comes out who's the head of the movies, like head of the movie division for Disney. So I would say, at least 300 levels above anyone who should care what happened at the fiasco panel last night, right?
Kind of surprising that he's even there.
Yeah, he has no idea who cares what happened at that panel. Like, no way he knew any kind of fiasco happened.
Right.
Gets out on stage, and he's like, hey, I'm blah, 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 welcome to the live action panel. Who's all excited? Everybody's cheering. Goes on, this is the best. He goes, so, who all made it out to the Pixar panel yesterday?
Oh.
I did not, Eric did not. My whole section just boos adamantly, really loud. The guy looks over, like, confused as anything. He's like, what the heck? Why? We nailed it yesterday. Why is he so mad? And he's just, like, kind of, like, confused and just keeps on the teleprompter. But I told Eric, I'm like, oh, gosh, that poor guy. So I'm like, hopefully someone afterwards explained to him, like, what happened. Because he's probably, like, you know, I'm sure he had been nervous the rest of the panel, because he's like, what the heck happened that nobody told me?
You guys hate Pixar that much?
This is why we have interns, right? Like, I'm gonna fire all my secretaries. So anyways, whole panel goes off, live action, freaking nuts. The Lion King, I gave a standing ovation again. Looks so freaking good.
Really?
The live action of it does.
Okay,
so good.
2 years ago we sat here and we talked about how the live action Jungle Book looked so amazing.
Yep.
Same, like you're on the same level. Same
studios. John Favreau and his whole team's doing it again. Yeah. It looks unbelievable.
Okay.
So Eric's like, I really hope they show something. So we get towards the end of the Disney section. They hadn't shown anything yet, and the guy's like, we have one more surprise, and it showed the Lion King logo. I'm like, oh my gosh, please just show something. And he's like, all right, let's watch this clip. It's a black screen for like 20 seconds. Like, nothing's happening. I'm like, please no. I was like, really want to see this. And also, it just starts. It's just, Savenya! I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to show us the opening, you know, the beginning song.
Yeah.
And it's all just like Jungle Book, just like, none of it's real, and it's all just the computer whatever, but it looks so real. They remade the entire opening just, you know, with the live action characters. I always forget his name. What's the name of the monkey? The spiritual monkey? Rafiki. Looks like that actual baboon. So he doesn't look like Rafiki. They didn't try to make Rafiki look real.
Sure.
He looks like the actual monkey in real life, which I thought was excellent.
Okay.
He like pops over the stuff to smear on Simba's head. Simba does like a cute little like sneeze. Simba looks exactly like a tiger. Like you just want to squeeze him. He's so freaking cute.
Yeah.
It looks unbelievable. Wow. There's no talking. They didn't show Mufasa or like the mom because like they zoomed out, so they're still saving all that.
Yeah.
But they do the thing. Lights come up. Standing ovation. John Favreau comes up like applauding everything, and he says about when Lion King came up and they got it. Apparently he said, which again, this is him just talking, but I somewhat believe it. When he says the project, he's like, when's D23? When's the next D23?
Right.
He said, that's all. He wanted to make sure he had stuff ready to go for that time.
Yeah.
And he says about how nervous they were last D23 because they hadn't shown anything. He's like, I don't know if people are going to like this or not. And it got an unprompted standing ovation. Like, Star Wars stuff and Marvel stuff gets a standing ovation all the time.
Yeah.
But, like, it was a big deal for that to get a standing ovation, you know, especially with how much criticism was going into it that they're doing a live-action Jungle Book.
No one trusted it. No one was like, yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do this.
So he's like, you all told us we were on a good pace and we were ready to go. So he's like, I wanted to do the same thing for Lion King. I told Eric, I was like, we should have started like a one more time chance, like watch it one more time. It was so good, man. Like, I seriously can't emphasize how good it was. Mary Poppins was looking great. Wrinkle in Time.
Wait, Mary Poppins?
Yeah, they're doing a Mary Poppins 2 sequel.
Are they really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, Mary Poppins...
Sequel, not a remake?
No, full-out sequel. Returns. Because there's like 6 Mary Poppins books.
Okay.
It is what's her name? Emily Blunt is Mary Poppins.
Huh. All right.
But Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it.
Okay.
Meryl Streep's in it. Dick Van Dyke makes a little cameo.
Perfect.
So it's pretty good. But they showed a couple like the animation, like the stuff with the penguins where it's like cartoon on top of it. They have that in it again. So like I'm like, okay, good. That set chills down my spine. They had that, but the one that everybody's chills in the spine is Mary Poppins descends from the clouds again, but it just looks different because like the modern technology with it all.
Right.
And like it's super good. It's super faithful to like what it is. So I was kind of like, this is dumb at first, but I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this.
Cool.
So it was pretty good. Wrinkle in Time looks pretty good. I'm kind of curious about it. The best thing is Oprah's in it, and they brought Oprah out, and they gave everybody a Wrinkle in Time poster. Mm-hmm. And when they brought Oprah out, like I told Eric, I'm like, they're gonna give away posters. And so they, the director was like, she's the director from Selma. I forget her name, but super good, super good director. But she's like, and since we have Oprah here, and she's like, you get a poster, and you get a poster, like the whole thing, and like everybody's applauding, like it's the best. That was super good. There's like a Nutcracker thing they're doing, like a Nutcracker movie, but the complete like reinterpret, like it's nothing like the Nutcracker at all. Huh. I'm not really thrilled about it yet, but we'll see.
Sure.
But then so they moved on to Star Wars. They did like nothing with Star Wars. They showed like a behind the scenes video, which I think they released on YouTube. And they brought some like stars out, but it wasn't like, I thought we were going to get Han Solo film name.
Yeah.
At the time, nothing. So that was fun seeing the end with Marvel. Yeah, and they brought like so many people out with Marvel, which is super fun.
Yeah.
The Falcon, Mike wasn't on, but he said something that made the whole other cast like gasp and have their eyes really big. I can't believe he said that. So I really want to know what he said, but he said something pretty good. Josh Brolin was on there and swore on stage, which you're not supposed to do at a Disney event.
Sure.
And that created some awkward.
Well, he's also a bad guy, so
yeah, right.
I mean, Thanos doesn't, play by the rules per se.
And so then they showed, they said they created a special video because it's 10 years. Like this next year will be 10 years for the Marvel MCU movies.
Holy cow,
so they created a
really?
special look back, and sort of watching it, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And it just feeds directly into the Avengers trailer, Infinite War. Not trailer, just clips. And it's just Guardians of the Galaxy is driving through space, and like Thor hits the windshield, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, oh shoot, Eric, this is Infinity War. And so like there was no logo, it just acted like nonchalant. Oh, here we go, it's Infinity War stuff, and it is unfreaking believable.
Oh man, I can't wait.
The clips leaked online. I still think that's from San Diego Comic-Con, because I think they showed the same stuff.
Okay.
Because I'd be shocked, because 2 videos leaked out at D23, and they do not mess around at D23.
Yeah.
Because nothing leaked out last time. Nothing from any of the panels that would lock things. So I'd be shocked if they screwed it up twice. Because they bag everything, which is one thing. It's loud when you try to get your stuff out of it. Obviously, you could have kept it in your bag and then have to put it in your thing. But then they have these camera sensors, and there's like a lot, like 60+ security people there that have these little goggles that can detect infrared, which all camera recording has. So it could see like the beam, infrared beam. So like it's pretty hard to record in there.
Sure.
So who knows? But anyway, some people watched it. It's super good. It's super good. They said they're not releasing because it wasn't technically done yet, and they don't really release that footage. They weren't releasing actually done official trailer. There's no music. There's nothing. It was just cut clips per se.
Yeah.
But it's unbelievable. If it's like some people said, which I don't think it's gonna set like the most. If Star Wars Episode 7 didn't set the most number of people like money wise,
Yeah.
I don't think this will. But oh gosh, man. So anyway, super good. Got tons. Done the panel. We're like, all right, we're waiting our line for this gift. I'm like, Eric, should we bolt? Should we go for this gift? We see some people walking by. So I'm like, yo, what's the gift? Because they said they had to scan our badge and our wristband. I'm like, why did they scan our badge? For like a poster.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, what they end up doing is giving everybody a free 1-day park hopper that's valid for the next 2 years. At
Oh, wow.
And cool. I'm not planning on being in Disneyland next 2 years. Potentially, I'm sure I will at some point. But,
you'll find a reason for it to be on the way somewhere.
And I'm like, and then we like the expo's till like 7, so I'm like, Eric and I are gonna be exhausted, so we really want to go to Disneyland. We already went twice, so I'm like, do we really want to wait for this, or do we want to bolt to try and get in line for the parks panel?
Yeah.
So like we're debating back and forth. They're processing pretty quick, so we're like, all right, we'll just wait, scan our badge, get our thing, we book it, like running past everybody, get in line for this parks panel, which is already literally freaking across the expo, and because apparently they're slow filling into this. I'm like, oh geez, here we go again. So I tweet out a picture, and there's no cast members around. It's just people honoring in this walking system, because we went to the front and we went to where the escalator was down and just followed it straight back. Okay. And we get in line, and so like Eric and I are talking, and we're walking. Everything's moving quickly, and we're getting through. We get to the front, and we're getting ready to go in, and this lady stops us, this cast member, like literally right in front of me. And I'm like, we're getting this. She's like, you guys are in the unofficial line. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about, the unofficial line? And she's like, this is the actual line. And I'm like, we literally walked, and she was a t-shirt person, wasn't a polo person.
Okay.
And I was like, we literally walked from the front to the back. She's like, well, you were supposed to be in the inside. I'm like, well, there was nobody around, so we had to do it ourselves. So I'm not waiting. And because I was getting frustrated after everything, like, this has been such a screw up, and I was getting a little bit agitated. She's like, you just got to wait. I'm like, ma'am. I was like, I showed her a picture on my phone. I'm like, look, this is where we lined up. I don't know where these people came from, but we were in a line too. So you just have to merge us. And there's some people at the time just getting really mad. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening again, And as I said,
nobody learn from the last time?
Yeah, I said like last D23 Expo, and this is what I said to Brett. I'm like, Disney literally makes a living on queues. How do they screw this up so bad? And then like he said, like, it's not Parks that runs it. Like, it's somebody else that apparently doesn't ask for Parks help or whatever. And like, why don't you get Reed Pop, who does like our stuff, which they screw up Star Wars Celebration and stuff too, so they're not perfect. But like, I don't know. I feel like it could be better than whatever these people do. And I don't think they just have to change expos, like arenas or whatever. Anyways, the line was only like 40 people, so it wasn't too bad to get through. And we get down, and eventually we got a wristband, and we're in an overflow line, and they're like, we're running out of wristbands. I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyways, we get in, and Eric asked like 5 people, and they're like, does this guarantee us a seat? And they're like, I don't know, I think so. And I'm like, shit. So we sat in like A. We didn't even bother with B this time. Right? We're not going to make that mistake again.
Right.
But anyways, we got seated in fine, and then the rest of the expo was great. But it was an adventurous 24 hours at that point.
Unbelievable.
Sorry for the long rant, everybody.
No. I'm exhausted because I can't even imagine like you going through all that in person physically. But my goodness,
the parks panel was that was the make or break.
Yeah.
Like, if we didn't get into parks, I was like swearing off D23 forever.
Sure, you were cautious going into this one.
Yeah, and it was like, if we got in, this is gonna be the best. It was gonna be better than last year. But if we didn't get in, it was like, I'm done with this dumb thing.
Yeah.
And it was literally teetering on that line.
Right.
And Sunday there was no big panels because there was no. Last year, I forget even what the second panel was. The first panel was the games panel with Kingdom Hearts, and Disney Infinity and Battlefront and all that kind of stuff. But since Disney Infinity is there and not really a big tent pole, they had the side panel, which is still pretty heavily attended. Like, they made some big Kingdom Hearts announcements for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess they didn't think it was going to be big enough because what they did had Alan Menken, who's basically done the songs for like any Disney classic movie you can think of. He is the composer for Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, Tangled. He did Newsies. Like, he's done everything.
Okay.
And he did like a life story kind of thing where he kind of like explained how he got to the music intertwined with the songs, backstory and songs. We kind of went originally because it's like, what else are we gonna do? But it ended up being the last thing we did at the expo, and honestly, it might have been my favorite thing we did. It was super, like, he was super opening about his heart, and he was like, it really made you appreciate the movies more than you have before. It added like that personal element to it all, and it was super good. So I hope they release video of that, because it was like, it didn't make me like cry, but it kind of got like emotional listening to some stuff about like the heartbreak and different things. And it was probably it was the best way to end the expo.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, I mean, it's the parks panel, super fun. Again, everything was live streaming there, but everybody who got there was got free passes to Fantasmic. And what they had to do, because there was 4 different showings you could see, everybody got a plastic card, and you had to go redeem it at this like fast pass, a stage pass section, which is basically like fast passes for different panels, and you had to redeem a card and choose which time you wanted to go. The funny thing is, this is on Saturday. Friday night when we went there, we went and got like a stage pass for like one of the evening panels, and they're still available. So basically, we just didn't have to wait in this queue line. We could just walk in like 5 minutes ahead of time and get in. They said like 15 minutes, but you know, is what it is. But we were guaranteed seating. So we literally like walked up, and there was like 6 booths available, and we got it. So I'm like, told Eric, I'm like, these poor people thought they were gonna have a, because it like, I'm sure Disney didn't tell them this is what they were gonna do, you know. So these people were probably thinking like, oh, we're gonna have a chill end of the day on Saturday, and now they have to process 7,000 tickets for Fantasmic. So I asked one of the cast members, I'm like, off the record, when did you find out? They're like, an hour before you did. So it's like, so they're like, they're waiting for a chill evening, and next thing you know, like, wait, excuse me, we're doing what? And it was chaos to get that processed. Also, a cute thing to end the Disney thing, which turned, like, it's just so funny, people who just don't understand or appreciate things. They told this story, and Disney was trying to, like, redeem themselves like cast members, because there's been this bad stories recently about how they treat cast members. So they said about how they really appreciate the positive emails you send to Disney for their cast members. And this one was this really cute story. And it was about this lady who brought her son who has autism. And they surprised him with taking to Disney. And he said the only thing he wanted to do, it wasn't a ride, it wasn't a food, it wasn't a character meet. He wanted one of those Mickey balloons. So it has like the Mickey Mouse blow up inside the balloon.
Oh,
you know
right,
what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the classic Disney balloons.
Yep.
And he wanted a green one. He didn't want a red, he didn't want a blue, he didn't want the purple, he wanted the green one. Yeah. And so mom's like, all right, you know, that's all he wanted. He said that's all he really wanted. That'll make his Disney trip. So he had fun at Disney. They get towards the parade where they always have those balloon people walking around. And so, like, they couldn't find him, and the kid's kind of getting upset, you know, 'cause that's literally the only thing he wanted. And, like, obviously, you know, autism, stuff like that, you know, they get fixated on something like that. And so the mom told the dad, wait here, I'll go find somebody. And the dad, I think, was the one who was writing the email, and said the mom was away for, like, 30-plus minutes trying to track down this green balloon. And eventually what happened, she found some cast members who were selling these balloons and asked them, hey, green ones. And they're like, unfortunately, we don't have any. Like, either sold out, didn't have them today, whatever it was. And then she says, like, the mom said, I don't think the mom even said the story. I think so either the people were just even being super nice, or could just tell, for some reason, this meant a big deal to have this green one. So they went backstage, made a fresh green one, and brought it out to her. And then brought it back to the kid, and the kid was happy and had a time. They said that, like, forever now when they go, yeah, Disney balloon's going to mean a lot. It's like a dumb little balloon made that entire trip, which is a Disney thing.
Yep.
There's small little things that makes everybody's trips. There's always, they call them like those Disney moments.
Yep.
So it's this really cute story that they had. So they end the parks panel with like people singing, I forget what song. I think Wishes I don't remember what it was. Anyways, then they brought like 10 to 15 cast members out, all holding like 20 green balloons. And I'm like,
cool.
frick. So like it's wrecking everybody. Like I'm getting teary-eyed. Like, this is super cute. So they get done, and then they're like, all right, thanks for coming. And I'm like, all right, so we all go to leave. And then the cast members start handing out the green balloons. Goodness gracious, Josh. It is like they're handing out $500 gift cards. Oh, there's like a lady in a row like pushing through. Like, she's like, I need one. I'm like, dude,
why?
I need to pay attention to this thing. Like, why are you ruining a cute thing like this? And then people get like vultures over like, I won't say a $2 balloon because really it's like $12. I think those things cost. But I'm still like, you guys, like, were you paying attention at all? You know? Like, you guys just, like, jeez Louise. And so, it was just like, it was such a shame that people were ruining this nice, cute moment by just being jerks. Like, literally, people like pushing me and Eric, like, over. Like, we almost lost our balance trying to get these freaking balloons.
And for what? Like, because they get a cool balloon out of the deal? Like, that's worth it? Like, that's how greedy you are. Really?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
oh.
Like I told Eric, like I think those balloons are amazing.
Sure.
And I've never gotten one. I've always wanted. I'm not paying $12-16 for a balloon because what am I going to do with it?
Right. However,
you're
not going to be a schmuck trying to get one.
It's like they really should have only been handing out to like kids. Like, let's be honest. Like if you're over the age of like 12, you're not getting a balloon. Yeah. And like even still, like even if you're above the age of 12, you should still be like, you know what? I'm gonna let a kid take it.
but then 100%. Then you'd have adults pushing their kids up to the front so that they could get one like past other like. Yep. It happens every time, no matter what situation it is. People are horrible, Jason. Even at Disney events.
So, this is getting crazy. People are getting heated, trying to get these free passes for the Fantastic thing. And, like, anyways, Eric and I are just being ourselves. I didn't get the video tweeted. But, anyways, since they only had an hour to prepare to try to figure out how they can queue up 7,000 people on the expo floor, they were like, it was all kinds of mess up. And it ended badly. And, again, there was a couple of people in T-shirts, but they, like, eventually brought over the head honchos who took over and were like, you guys are queuing this up wrong. Let us do it.
Right.
So I sent an email. I was critiquing stuff that needs to change again, but some stuff they said they did much better, and I complimented the people, who did a good job. Because there were some people who were there, like open and close as much as we were, who were just Disney employees and had a smile on, laughing the whole time. And I went to them, like, each of them. I'm like, seriously, I don't know what you get for this. I don't know why you want to do this, but like I appreciate you being here doing this because like there's 3 people specifically. If they weren't there, it would have been a slaughterhouse.
Man,
so, who knows? But I'm ready to go for D23 2019. Bring it on.
Yeah, why not? Good thing it's only every 2 years. I don't think you could handle that every year.
I couldn't.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could. Let's talk some toys, shall we?
Let's do it.
Unfortunately, folks, as you could tell by the fact that we just spent so much time talking about Jason's vacation to D23, we don't have a lot of news to talk about tonight. News is hard to come by these days. Skylanders, they're MIA. We don't know what's going on with them. Definitely don't ask where the last figure and pack is because they won't answer.
See, Matt had his dinger the other day?
No, I missed that.
When they like tweeted like a picture of like Eruptor.
That was me, bro.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Oh, that was you.
When they said caption this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said that face when somebody asked you about the yawn trap.
Oh, it was you then. I apologize.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's all right. Matt doesn't care about Skylanders anymore.
I thought, because that's why I was like shocked it was Matt saying it, I'm like, look at you go, Matt.
No.
Welcome to the dark side.
Matt's trying. If the moment Matt would tweet something about Skylanders, all he would do is just get everybody asking what's going on with Robo. So he's laying low until he knows something, folks.
This side tangent real quick.
Yeah. If
you want a good laugh, go to Twitter and search people mentioning this account. Search for people mentioning @Amiibo Inc. Legitimately, still in the last like month, I think there's like 20 tweets.
No kidding.
I'm like, oh, wow. I haven't tweeted since May of 2015.
It also clearly says that it's not. Yeah.
Sorry. The other day I thought about it. I was like, I wonder if people still tweet. Oh my gosh, people are.
Yeah.
But I'm not even logged into any device on it, so I don't get any notifications. But
sure. Boy, oh boy. So we're not going to talk Skylanders because we have nothing to talk about. I'm sorry. We will talk about Lego, but maybe not Lego Dimensions. This portion of the podcast is sponsored by our friend James Holian over in the UK. You can find him on Twitter @Infinity Museum. Alerta Birdie told me that Mr. James Holian might be upgrading the domicile. His museum got too big, and the wife is making him buy a new house to house his collection.
Ooh.
So big. It feels like everybody around us in this community is buying houses. Getting married and buying houses. Like, that's what's going on in this community.
Graduating, man.
Or graduate. Like, everybody's growing up, Jason, except you and I. Like, we're just talking about Disney for an hour. So nothing going on with LEGO Dimensions. The next wave is still scheduled for September 15th, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about
Mid-September.
right. All I know is Best Buy and GameStop is the only places accepting pre-order.
Yeah. Because nobody cares anymore, unfortunately. LEGO Dimensions, like, they're not even really hyping it up, it feels like.
Randomly giving away green arrows again.
Yeah, they found a warehouse full of them, and they decided to do something with it, so...
What is it, like 250 of them, I think?
I thought it was 500. Maybe it was less, I don't know. It'd be cool if they did that with Supergirl, just saying. I think that's one that irritates people more at this point.
Yeah.
You know, because they put it behind a paywall. Whatever. So we got nothing to talk about LEGO Dimensions because they're quiet. All quiet's on the Western Front. But LEGO Worlds is coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, man.
That just got announced. That's fitting. That's a good system for that game.
It's getting still like more like it's actually doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So I might pick it up for the Switch.
Yeah.
I have not picked it up yet.
I haven't either, but it feels like on the Switch I would be more apt to just play it for a little bit. Like, it's Minecraft, you know, it's the LEGO version of Minecraft, and I don't want to dedicate a lot of time on my bigger consoles on the TV to playing Minecraft, but on the go, if I'm just sitting there doing something else or whatever, like, pick it up and play for 10, 15 minutes, do a couple little things and move on. Like, that's how I would want to play LEGO Worlds.
Right.
Not investing a whole night to it or anything like that.
Right, and this is no bad speak on the Switch at all, but, like, I like using my Switch to play, like, a smartphone, like, 15, 20 minutes at a time, and that's what I probably would do with LEGO Worlds. Like, I don't think I would sit down and play LEGO Worlds for, like, an hour or two at a time.
Yeah. So that's something. Also today, I think it's today or yesterday, I don't know, sometime recently, the new trailer for the new Ninjago movie video game released.
Oh, yeah, that was yesterday, I think.
Yesterday, yeah, okay. Looks cool, looks fun. LEGO, still making games, still making fun-looking video games, just not LEGO Dimensions related, so, look, that's, again, writing's on the wall, folks. We want more, but we could only report on what we have. So there you have it.
I'm excited for the Ninjago movie. Super excited.
Yeah, looks fun. I
don't know if I would get the game. I might be a Redbox rental if it comes out.
Yeah, or wait till it's on flash sale or something.
Right.
You know, the price will drop soon.
Lego Star Wars Force Awakens just came to Redbox recently.
Oh, nice.
Lego Worlds is on there, which I think we forgot. I can't remember if we mentioned that before or not, but Lego Worlds is available if you want to rent that.
Cool.
It's like $3, I think.
Yeah,
right?
$3 a night, and they have like promotions and coupons all the time for that. So
yeah,
half the time when I rent a movie, it's like, "Hey, do you want a free game tonight?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't want a free game." But every once in a while, I'm like, "I'll take a free game just in case." You know, just in case I have an extra hour or two to spare. You never know. It's free. You can't pass up free stuff. Let's transition over to Amiibo, shall we?
Let's do it.
Amiibo, part of the podcast, is sponsored by our friend Michael O'Driscoll. You can find him on Twitter at amiibo_museum. Remember his new wife? First wife? Only wife?
Only wife.
How about just wife? Her name is Anya, and she is a singer. She has an album. The album is called And the Light Comes In. You can find that over on iTunes. You can check it on Spotify first. Listen before you buy type of situation. We would appreciate it if you check that out for Michael and Anya. Jason, Amiibo, we had a big release. How'd that go?
It happened.
It happened.
I think it went okay. People got...
It wasn't as chaotic as I predicted it would be.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the smoothest thing.
Yeah,
but it went. Store exclusives, 2 of them. I mean, I think some people had some issues getting them. But the 2 physical in-store ones at least. But I think there was a supply. Some stores that got like short changed, but some, you know, like any of the stuff. Some stores like in random middle towns that got like 800 of them. Whereas like high population areas, like we got 6. You know?
Yeah.
But the big issue, or the big anticipation, was waiting on Amazon. For the Player 2 of Corrin.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it went online. We thought it was going to be around, at least I thought it was going to be around like 1 o'clock, because I think it's when both the other ones recently have gone up. When they publicly, and those they haven't announced, but like the last time, when they publicly announced Polina, that was like 5 o'clock Eastern time. But the last one seemed to be 1 o'clock. And I think what they're doing, they're uploading like an amiibo every like 30 minutes.
Right. Because they hadn't had any pre-orders for any of that day's releases up until then.
And that was what wave was that? Do you remember? Was that the Polina wave when they were doing like? Remember when they were releasing them like every 30 minutes, and like stuff was selling out in like half a second?
That was the first wave of Splatoon. But it also has some Smash in it. Yeah. With Wario, I believe, that whole wave.
I think you're right. Yeah, with Charizard in that one. I think I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So I forget. I think it went up not until I guess it was around 1 o'clock ish, Eastern time. But it went up. It was up for a decent while.
Yeah.
Not like it was up for hours, but better than what some people anticipated to be.
For sure. Right.
So everything seemed to be handy dandy. Some people are bummed, obviously, that they can't get everything on the same day. Hard to do like a hey, happy Amiibo release day haul when one's processing. Right.
Okay, so that wave was Charizard, Greninja, the Inkling Kids, and the Squid. Jigglypuff, Lucina, Ness, Pac-Man. No. That might have been too many. Or was that? And then Robin and Wario. And then Palutena? No, Palutena was after that. Yeah, so Wario, Robin, Pac-Man, Ness, Lucina, Jigglypuff, and then the Squids, Greninja, and Charizard.
Right.
Yeah, that wave. That huge wave.
Yeah. I just remember like all of them going like half second, and I think it was like Wario was up for like the whole time.
Yeah. The Robin and Lucina ones were the Robin specifically was like a millisecond. Whoops.
But yeah, so everything seemed fine and dandy.
Yeah.
Except for if you were on the East Coast around New Jersey, who were getting shipped the wrong one. Some people, I wouldn't say widely, but a decent chunk, were getting the standard Corrin versus the Player 2 version of Corrin. We've talked about this before, that they typically should be scanning the barcode.
Right.
And processing it through.
Nope. Frank in the warehouse was just grabbing the box.
He got tired of boxing up Corrin. Yeah. And was just like, this is Corrin, whatever. Yep. Chucking it in here.
Same color, same name. Good. No problem.
What if?
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
You need to scan it. No, I'm good. Skip.
No, I got this. Frank, do your job correctly. No, I'm good.
My second week on the job. It's fine. I got this. So it seemed to be coming off from like the same distribution center, which again makes it seem like it legitimately is just like one guy. He's going to come into work the next day.
Yeah.
Thought he was saving some time.
Right.
He was not making fun of Amazon stuffing employees at all, because one's going to be a hard time. Two, from all I've heard, it's like a time-sensitive job.
Yeah.
Like you have to move quick. So
I mean,
I'm sure a lot of them are trying to cut the corner as much as possible.
People are paying for that Prime membership for a reason. You can't lose those people.
Richest man on earth is not going to take that for it. No. Yeah. So, anyways, an issue again with it being exclusivity. This is your only chance, and it's sold out. So that's like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. Which that doesn't really make sense to me, because shouldn't theirs be somewhere then? Since they bought it.
Well, yeah, it got boxed in with people that were buying the regular Corrin also.
Oh, I guess so. Oh, was it?
I mean, I'm assuming. But those people aren't like bragging about it online. They're not just like, oh yeah, I bought a regular Corrin and I got Player 2 Corrin by accident. Like those people are just immediately turning around and putting them on eBay.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I saw like one person on Twitter saying they're getting like $150 gift card or Reddit. I think that's what your miles may vary. I don't think Amazon's going to go that crazy on it.
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, if that's... I haven't seen how much they're going for on Amazon, scalper-wise, but I guess it would, they would technically have to do, should do. Let me see, Coin Player 2, $61.97. Get out of town. Oh, jeez. I accidentally clicked on the trade-in thing, and it said $697. I'm like, yo! I was like, your past purchases are worth up to... I was like, okay. I was going to say, if Coin Player 2 is going... If I could trade mine in for $697, peace out. So, yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah.
For those people.
Yep.
Honestly, the bright side, but remember, this is a launch exclusive. Since it took them like 2 years to release this, amiibo, who knows how long the exclusivity is going to be. But it's definitely coming out somewhere else.
Sure.
Eventually.
Yeah. It will. It always does, folks. Remember when we said the gold Mario would never, ever, 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 ever come anywhere else, ever? It did.
It did.
Yeah. So.
Well, they say it right on the amiibo site, too. It says, like, this is an exclusive at launch.
Yeah.
So much more upfront about this time.
So, overall, it was a nice release day. It felt good to get that amiibo, to get all of them. Everything went fairly well. Walmart didn't seem to be putting out their stock. Shocking. But everybody else had like decent numbers, and I didn't hear a lot of problems with anybody getting theirs. So overall, good job.
Now, here's the thing: we haven't gotten to like a debate in a while, like a topic debate.
Yeah.
I know we like glanced about it. This is before E3.
Mm-hmm.
But how are you feeling on Player 2 stuff now? Like, do you think stuff's coming? Do you think this is it?
Yeah. No, I think more is coming. It's so weird that they would start that with the last three.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. There's no
reason
reason
think
for
of
it.
Is there's going to be like, this is why it took us so long to release these, because we're making 2 versions.
No. That's stupid. That's not true. It just, I think they're waiting for the Switch announcement of Smash Brothers, and it wouldn't make sense to have 3 DLC characters for a Wii U game, have a second alternative costumes, and have like the box say Player 2, and like, yeah, they're coming. I just don't. Look, they have no reason not to turn around and go through the entire Smash lineup again backwards,
Right.
Go for it, Nintendo. Be bold.
And I was trying to figure out, or what did I see? How many did they ship? I just saw,
Oh, their numbers from that they posted? I don't remember.
1.6?
Something like that. A decent amount.
A decent chunk.
Yeah.
I
mean, overall, Nintendo's selling a lot of stuff all around.
Yeah. Compared to the same period, and there were a few new types of amiibo compared to the same period last year, and a few new titles offering amiibo functionality. Amiibo sales were approximately 1.60 million units for figure type and approximately 1.3 million units for card type. I don't know what that time frame was, but
yeah,
I guess compared to last year, I guess it's a quarter report, so last quarter was still 1.6 million.
Right.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Still going strong.
So yeah, it's still selling.
Enough reason for them to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I was saying. I was shocked they didn't announce Smash at the E3 thing.
Yeah.
But I think since they announced, I don't think they're planning on announcing the Pokemon Stars thing that early. But I think it was just getting to the point where they're like, we have to announce this, or it's just gonna.
Sure. I was thinking about the Smash thing, and ARMS was just about to come out, and like that's something that they really wanted to like, hammer home of like that's the next
true.
big fighting title, and they also were talking about the Pokken Tournament coming to the Switch, which is another fighting game. You throw a Smash announcement on top of those two already; those two don't exist anymore because all people are going to talk about and care about is the Smash, game coming out. So they want to keep going with the ARMS and the Pokken Tournament, get those out. Once those are out and about, and people have them and they're playing them, then they could swoop in and say, oh yeah, now it's time for Smash.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
because they don't want to cannibalize their own sales with multiple different fighting games. You know, they're all different types of fighting games, but people could only handle so many fighting games,
right.
you know? So, just gives people a little bit here, a little bit there, then once they buy into it. I mean, ARMS sold 1.8 million copies in June.
Yeah.
It's incredible, you know? So...
And the Mario Kart attachment rate's like 60 or 70%, maybe even higher than that.
Right.
Like Zelda was like 85% or something crazy.
I'm just glad it's less than 100.
Yeah. Zelda's probably... The Mario Kart legitimately surprises me. I don't think anyone could have predicted it was going to sell that well.
People love Mario Kart, man.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, if people say, well, that's many people who didn't buy the Wii U, which I agree somewhat with, but I think a lot of people who bought the Switch are a lot of Nintendo diehards who already had a Wii U. And I would be surprised there's that many people who would have rebought it, you know?
Right.
But like I said, people just love Mario Kart. And the thing, like, I think Greg made a point on Games Daily this week about he had the Wii U and like got Mario Kart, but just didn't like the way the Wii U played, so didn't play it much.
Right.
And so, like, I personally think I've clocked in more hours on the Switch of Mario Kart already than I did on the Wii U.
Right.
I will say too, I forgot to tweet the picture out, but we did recreate the commercial. Eric and I played Mario Kart on the plane.
Nice.
We played 4 tournaments. Because we kept tying. We tied 3 tournaments in a row. And I'm like, Eric, I'm not stopping until one of us wins. And like both our hands are cramping up trying to play in a small little Joy-Con.
Sure.
But
Who came out the winner?
I did.
Nice.
And it was like the one race, like 2 races we legitimately tied on. And the one I think Eric definitely won, but they gave it a tie.
Mm-hmm.
And we tied. I thought I'm pretty good at the Wario Mountain one. That's like my jam. I love that track.
Right.
And he freaking blew me up there at the last second and beat me, and I was not happy.
Finally, with Amiibo, the Pikmin Amiibo comes out tomorrow.
Yep.
To go along with
and
a Pikmin.
Shout out to Amiibo Jason. Bought it on Wednesday at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Toys R Us is pretty good with like them and Target, I would say.
Yeah, their
Best Buy's pretty
register
good
locks
too.
are
tight.
Yeah.
And I almost tweeted him like, you idiot, why are you even trying this? You know what's going to happen.
Sure.
And it was success, which I didn't see if he was that a manager override or just a straight through. Because manager override doesn't count.
He didn't say.
Because manager override, that's a separate thing. But if it rang up, I'd be shocked.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Nintendo just didn't care.
Yeah. I don't want to buy the Pikmin game. Did the reviews come out for that? I heard a couple of previews weren't.
I feel like reviews did come out. Like, I've seen reviews, and it's middle of the road.
69. Not bad.
Not bad. Not stellar, but not bad. They didn't mess it up. They just didn't go above and beyond what they could have with the Pikmin game. So,
switch real quick. Did you play the NBA Playgrounds update yet?
I have not. No.
Dude, it's so smooth now. It's unbelievable.
I can't wait.
I'm worse because they add the shot. They add like the shot meter in there to like show you when you're supposed to release it. I don't know if they changed like the chance of stuff. I used to sink threes nonstop and I can't hit them anymore. And I don't know if it's because I'm paranoid with the little thing in there. But man, it runs bother smooth now. It's so good.
Right. Awesome. I'm not gonna play it until Kyrie gets traded. So. What a mess in Cleveland. Goodness. Okay, we're not talking sports. Let's talk Lightseekers, shall we?
Do it.
I have a little bit to talk about. Lightseekers, part of the podcast, is sponsored by our friend Matt Sonnenberg at SCL Matt on Twitter, or you could go over to the website sclmatt.com and check out all the projects that he's involved with, including an award-winning Harry Potter podcast. Lightseekers.
Tweeting at NFL players, I see.
Yeah, well, you know, when NFL players show their love for all things Harry Potter, then it's crucial that we try to get in on that social marketing gold mine, you know?
That's fair.
Lightseekers. What's going on with Lightseekers? How are they doing?
They're doing good. Did you see that the picture from the Tomy store?
Yes.
That was pretty sweet looking.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're doing pretty good. I think you have a note on here. The contest is still going on, is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was extended because I don't think it was till the end of August.
Yeah, they did extend it. Yeah, they extended it to August 31st.
Mm.
So, encouraging people to get out there, take some pictures, and let everybody know that you can find Lightseekers at Toys R Us, which is awesome. So,
here's the thing: I'm glad that gets more people entered,
yeah.
but it also sucks because I want the money, so now more people are in.
Yeah.
Remember, legally, this is written in the Constitution. So you heard a contest for Josh and I. If you win like the $5,000, you have to give us like 1% of that.
Sure. Yeah.
That's in the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Read up on your history.
Yeah. If you heard it from us or a tweet that we did, then we're entitled to a cut. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to remind people that is still going on August 31st. But then, did you also see the how-to guide videos?
Oh yes. Yep.
Yeah,
they've been pushing those recently.
Yeah.
Those are really good. I watched a couple of them because some of the stuff I haven't done much with the pets at all.
Sure.
So I was watching that, but they're super informative. Super nice. And that's the one thing about they're still pushing their YouTube channel really hard, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't had much there after the release, but glad to see trying to figure out other content to keep pushing it out.
Right.
Because it's now, this is the crucial stretch. Now things out there, and I have to keep, people interested in it, which is the, why I always like the Disney Infinity way, where they held back stuff. There's two ways of looking at it. We have the debate, seems like once a month, back in the heyday, about whether it was nice LEGO Dimensions, where you knew what everything was available before you bought into it, versus Disney Infinity, where it was a surprise come. You can look at it either way, but
sure.
If you announce everything up front, like they typically have. Not everything's announced, but a large majority of it all, I would say. Now you got to keep people interested in between release waves.
Right. Yeah, Lightseekers are just chugging along, doing their thing, and we appreciate that. We'll keep you posted on any big news that comes from them. But I think right now they're all focused on just continuing to market the game and get it into the hands of people, and it's going strong. So, keep up the good work, Lightseekers crew. Next, I want to talk about Beasts of Balance, Jason. This portion of the podcast is going to be sponsored by our friend Christopher Long from Long's Toys. You can find him on Twitter at CLong83. His YouTube channel is youtube.com/user/Long's Toys. You could also find his podcast called Geek Each Week. Go ahead and check that out. You could find the show Twitter at Geek Each Week. Jason, last time we talked, it was the eve of the Beasts of Balance Kickstarter campaign. They're updating the game. They're promising some new things. So they went back to Kickstarter to generate a buzz and excitement for the game. How's their little Kickstarter going?
Unfortunately, they funded in 6 hours.
Unbelievable. They smashed it.
I personally didn't even look. When I sent out my tweet in the morning, I'm like, hey, it's Lightseekers, or it's Beasts of Balance Day. Time to tweet it out. I literally tweeted out 2 seconds later, we're funded. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yay. And I just retweeted that. I'm like, yay. Before you were even up.
Yeah, I stayed up late because I was editing the podcast from that night that we had done, and I was like, oh, it's midnight, I should check on the campaign. And I was doing some other things, and I was probably 45 minutes past when it launched officially, and it was already up to 60% funded. I'm like, oh no, this is awesome for them. This is so fantastic. I was afraid I was going to miss something cool,
right.
45 minutes into it, and I'm already freaking out that I'm missing something.
And I know they obviously they're based in UK, so they shipped to there. They shipped to US, and I think they also shipped to Australia. So again, not trying to be too much of a homer here, but all that happened while America was asleep.
Yeah.
So that's impressive to have the large purchasing power of a lot. And I don't know how many sales of theirs is here versus UK versus Australia, but you would think a large majority of it is here. So that was good on them. So right now they're currently 5 times over their goal.
Yeah.
So their goal is 50,000. They're at 258,000 for their thing. So they're well funded.
I think more impressive is the number of backers. Now, this time around, they have 2,462 at this moment. The last Kickstarter, their first Kickstarter campaign, only had like 2,200. So they've already gained like 200 additional backers on Kickstarter. You know, and that's not to say everybody from the first time came around to this time, but you know, that means they're growing. That's showing growth, and that's super exciting for them.
Yeah. Yeah, the designs of these are so good. And like we talked before, the flamingo gives me so anxiety just watching it.
Yeah.
The chameleon's awesome. The anglerfish, that should be trying to put that in like a little weight.
Yep.
Will be sweet. So
yeah, that was all. You know, we talked about all that before on the last show. Once they launched, that's when the dragon was unveiled.
Yeah.
Magmar, the cantankerous, so good. One of their backer packages, though, it was the $169 one. It was. Let me see if I could get everything here of what was in that. So you got the Battles expansion pack, which is 16 NFC battle cards. Plus you got that new dragon artifact. Awesome. You got all three of the beasts, the chameleon, the flamingo, and anglerfish. And then you got all stretch goals that would be unlocked, which is good. But the big thing about this one is the gold dragon statue. So good.
So good?
Yeah.
So good?
Yeah. I jumped on that one immediately. Couldn't help it, Jason. Gold dragon statue. Look, I never got my gold Mushu from Frank's Hobby House in Hollywood, or whatever it was called. Don't even remember at this point. So I feel like this is a solid replacement for that whole debacle.
That's fair.
Also, backing early. Anybody that backed it within the first 48 hours, they extended it past the 24 hours because the time zones and everything got wonky. The ghost crab, which is like that translucent, glow-in-the-dark crab. Amazing.
Dude, as soon as I saw, like, this is when we texted you, like, yo, they're figuring this out.
Yeah.
Like, how to get people in, like, the gold thing and obviously the see-through. Like, that's the two collector's thing. Like, an old gold variant people love, and a see-through thing is people love.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. And then, like, they've been unlocking stretch goals nonstop, like, every $50,000 or so. And
to the point where just making stuff up.
Yeah. Well, and they keep, like, teasing, like, what's going to be next, but they never say what's going to be next.
Right.
And a few of them have been, like, different cards and everything. And again, like, if you had backed them, like, you got everything. All of the stretch goals were unlocked for you also, which are just thrown into your package for free, which is fantastic. Most excited about the legendary space whale, not going to lie. That thing, have you seen that?
Yes.
How are you going to balance that on anything? I don't even understand. Like, they are so far out there with things. It's fantastic. But so the next one is $275,000. They're getting close to unlocking that one. But then they said after that is going to be a fan favorite, or no, not a fan favorite, something that's highly requested or something.
Yeah.
Jason, I feel like they keep teasing me. I feel like these are aimed directly at us and our audience, because I don't know if there's anything been more requested from them than a plush jellyfish. I am going to lose my mind if that's what it is, and I will do anything possible to make that happen.
In the specific post, which I wish I could find it, didn't they specifically said like 6 things it could be?
Yeah.
Like not even out that 6, but they're saying like, oh, it could be like anything, like this, or it says like specifically mentions the jellyfish thing.
Yeah, that was in one of their updates and emails that was sent out to people.
Like they have on now.
They have publicly acknowledged the fact that people have wanted a plush jellyfish. So, boy, we need to get. I just want to see it. Like, if it gets to the point where it could happen, all hands on deck. You know, we're going in hard. But we're like less than 20,000 away to unlock this next one, and then once this one's unlocked, we'll find out what the following one. Oh, Jason, 11 days, folks. 11 days. Let's do this. Let's get that plush jellyfish push out there.
We need a hashtag for that.
Yeah, I think we need to start one.
Hashtag get the jellyfish.
Hashtag please jellyfish. Please plush. No, that's too long.
Hashtag jellyfish please.
Jellyfish please.
It's only been used like 3 times.
Hashtag release the jellyfish. Unlock jellyfish. Jellyfish unlocked.
I like hashtag release the jellyfish.
Release the jellyfish. Has it been used?
Well, 1, 2, 3, 5 times, but not since 2014.
Perfect. Hashtag release the jellyfish.
Just kidding. It was used in 2015, but that's fine.
That's fine. That's long enough.
Tweet it out. Hashtag release the jellyfish.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it right now. Hashtag release the jellyfish. Mentioning Beasts of Balance. Bam!
So yeah, there we go, folks. 11 days. We're at 258,000 of their initial 50,000 pledge. They have a new edition of the game, which is pretty much the old game, just repackaged a little bit differently to accommodate all the extra pieces that you're now getting. They have the battle cards, all kinds of good stuff. Exciting. I'm excited. I'm excited for all this new stuff. So if you haven't gotten to Beasts of Balance yet, now is a good time to jump in. If you already have and you're looking to expand it in different ways, now is an even better time to get in. They also have a bunch of add-in options and bundles and stuff. So lots of options on their Kickstarter page. So definitely go over to Kickstarter, type in Beasts of Balance. You'll find their Kickstarter campaign. We'll keep linking it out and sharing and doing what we can to hashtag release the jellyfish. I'm excited. Jason, it's that time where we dip in to the community. We dip our toes into the community pulse, and we ask the community question. Find out what people out there are saying. This week, the response of the week is going to get a $5 Amazon gift card. And we got a lot of good responses here. The question this week, Jason. Now, you know what? First of all, this segment is sponsored by our friend Evan Parker, the Lone Goldfish. My friend in Seattle. You can find him on Twitter at the Lone Goldfish. Or you can check him out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Lone Goldfish. I know he's been playing a lot of Splatoon. So if you find him on Twitter, maybe you can make friends with him on the Switch and play some Splatoon 2 and have a blast. You can do that salmon run or other fun things. So get a hold of Evan. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Community question this week. Now that the Smash Bros. Line of amiibo is complete, presumably, which figure is your favorite and why?
Now, are we just doing... It has to be a Smash figure, is that correct?
That's what the tweet said, Jason.
Okay.
This had nothing to do with any other amiibo. This was celebrating the last, presumably, of the Smash Brothers amiibo.
Now, see, I could argue either way. I know what your intentions were.
Yeah.
But, so I would say it has to be a Smash figure.
I can see now that I'm sitting here reading it, how somebody can misinterpret it. But I definitely feel like it was geared towards the Smash Brothers line.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we got a couple of responses here. We got TJ Custom Conquest says the Mii Fighters, generic figure but an NFC chip with limitless possibilities. Switched me up there with the endless possibilities and limitless possibilities. My mind was working faster than my tongue.
TJ.
Grizzly Max says Jigglypuff because it was the first time my girlfriend camped out with me. By the end, she started her own collection. I was thrilled we could share this together. I knew I had to marry her, and I did. And I did.
There we go. Amiibo bringing people together since 2015.
Amiibo Jason says, Bayonetta Player 2 is my sweet Bay. Sure. Sure, Jason.
Look, we got him to reply to a tweet. That's a win on our part all the way around.
That is true. That is true. I always love like when Nintendo Wire like likes one of my like just random tweets, and I'm like,
he can't keep his account straight for the life of him. I don't know how he keeps his like life straight, to be honest. Like, thank God Lauren is there with him, because day-to-day functionality for that man is impossible.
My favorite is when they tweet to each other back and like when they're in the same room, like back to back.
You know they're sitting right next to each other.
They're sitting like on the opposite wall, so their backs are to each other, but it's so funny. I love them. Tweet says, Mr. Game Watch, technically he's 4 figures in one. My Sue big sauce? My sauce big sauce? Sure.
I think you do this every time.
I like Kindorf a lot. The level of detail is amazing. Clint says, still a fan of Little Mac. Man, this feels so long. I mean, I guess it was so long ago.
It was, man.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to start telling him, I don't tell people how old I am in years. I tell them by Amiibo waves. Rose of Death says, still sticking with my boy Little Mac. Oh, yeah, 2 Little Macs.
Yeah.
First Nintendo game played ever. Besides, he's going to take it all the way and smash supremacy.
I think Little Mac is special because, like, there's no other Punch-Out merchandise in any capacity whatsoever.
Yeah. Andrea Sotero says, Rosalina's running in the middle of a blizzard to get her something I'll never forget. She symbolizes all the fun of Amiibo. That was fun in all the cold. Yeah. Jeff Grimes says, Jeff Grimes 23 says, I asked my son to pick, and he says Greninja because of the great detail. Mac Tonight OP says, function-wise, Mii Fighters, but figure-wise, I honestly really, really, really like the Cloud figure.
Yeah.
Jake Morales says, honestly, Mario, to this day, has some of the most detail from the overalls to the fire. He's easily my favorite Amiibo.
His overalls are completely underappreciated.
It's true.
Considering, like, that was one of the first Amiibo, like, you look at Amiibo now and just like, yeah, they finally nailed the design of these. They nailed Mario from the get-go.
Yeah, they messed around with him.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple people at once, you're like, if they could have done so much better if this was 2 years later.
Right.
Let's see. Cameron, Radish Trainer says, Villager, well, the first wave 1 may not be completely accurate. He's still the reason I started collecting. I forgot until now about how they changed it when re-release.
Yeah.
I still can't see the difference. Like, when I look at it, I know it's there. I'm just like, I want to be able to spot it.
No.
Trevor Pixarelli says, it isn't complete yet. We still need the Koopalings after the other gender benders. It's true. Okay. I don't know if they would do all the Koopalings or not.
We think it's not complete yet, but that's why I said presumably. Complete. You didn't even answer the question, Trevor.
Yeah. Come on, Trevor. Ben Anderson says, Sonic, because I've always loved the Sega mascot, and it's still cool to see him in a Nintendo franchise. Mm-hmm. Eric Trejo says, Luigi. It was my first Amiibo, and started me off in this wild adventure of Amiibo hunting. Josiah says, Bayonetta Player 1, because she is awesome.
Yeah.
Michael Driscoll says, Bowser, as he was my main in Smash. He was also held a special place in my heart. I even got a second one to paint with the skin I used. Mm-hmm. Looks sweet. Attach a picture of that. Be sure to take a look at that. Lady Dracula 7 says Corn Player 2 because she's a waifu and a dragon. Jackie Ann says, I only have 2 more of the new Amiibos, and that will finish my set. But people have been waiting for these for 4+ years. Not really an answer to the question, but still awesome. Glad you only got 2 more. Hopefully we can get the last 2.
Definitely.
May Scott says, Bowser for me. He just looks downright awesome.
Yeah.
Person of regular says, We Fit Trainer. My friend knew I wanted one and went through so much trouble just to hand deliver it to me. Named it after her, too.
Nice.
And I thought there was a couple that I'm missing because...
I thought so, too.
I thought I saw some on TweetDeck that are not showing up.
Maybe those people deleted them.
I wonder if they're attached to a different tweet, because I think Twitter changed how it shows. Yeah, because Phoenix says.
Yep.
Yeah, says
Adam's the one.
Yes.
Adam
says, Yarn Yoshis, they will forever be pride and joy. You know, being soft and all. You know.
Adam, read the tweet, my friend.
Now here's the thing. Where the heck is Shopkins Inc.?
That's a good question. Which
also reminds me.
Solid question.
I don't think I've seen them in a while.
Did they lose their phone again?
It's been 14 days, it's been 2 weeks.
Oh no.
Oh,
somebody's in a search party for Shopkins Inc.
We've lost them again.
Should we tweet at them?
I think we should.
Yeah, I think we need to.
Do they have a Sanka you dead man gif? Sanka, you dead man gif.
We're live tweeting here, folks. This is exciting radio.
There we go. Like, it always makes me sad. Like, when we don't hear from Walks, I'm afraid something happened.
Yeah.
And we have no idea who to contact because we.
They locked themselves out of their phone again. Yeah, there we go. Now they know that we care. All right, pick a winner, Jason.
Well, here's my thing. So, I didn't really want to choose who I thought, which I don't even really know who I would say. But best argument for it, I actually wasn't who I was thinking I was going to pick, like, initial thinking through. But I think I'm going to go with, let me find a tweet here. Tweety from Mr. Game & Watch.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think that's the most unique Smash Brothers thing.
It's the only amiibo to this date that's come with additional pieces.
Yeah. Like, beyond, like, the Yarn Yoshi and stuff like that was really, like, a pinnacle of amiibo. Like, what the heck are they going to do with this?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, this is pretty legit.
I think that's when we said, like, they could do so many different things with these.
Yeah. So, I would say that one just because it was the most impressive amiibo. And again, it's just like, this line can be so unique.
Yeah, definitely. Well, congratulations. Go ahead and get a hold of me on Twitter and claim your $5 Amazon gift card, and I'll happily send that your way. But thank you to everybody replying to that, especially Amiibo Jason. We know it's hard for you to take time out of your busy day to talk to us lowly folks over at Toys for Games, but we appreciate your friendship nonetheless. Last thing here, Jason, tonight, we have an email to talk about.
Ooh.
This one is from the man who can't seem to read tweets correctly. Adam, from the Gotta Catch 'Em All podcast that he does with his buddy Ken. Good friend of the show, Ken. Social media manager for Facebook group, Ken.
Oh, yeah.
Adam writes in and says, Dear Toys to Life. I think he meant Toys for Games, but...
Man, Adam, you're not on your game tonight, buddy.
Adam's having a rough go. Recently there's been
them legendaries.
Yeah, that's true. Recently there's been a surge of attacks from several new angles. We had Lightseekers come out swinging with a few home runs. Then we had Beasts of Balance skyrocket themselves during the Kickstarter, and they are on their way to 600% funded. And it continues. We get so many new amiibo. One day, the day one hype was real. I was in a very small line, but as soon as Best Buy was open, everyone was looking for amiibo and Nintendo Switches. It was awesome to see. It's been a while, so I just wanted to send in an email, and I wanted to at least share in my excitement. Also, how many raids have you and Jason taken part of? The hype is real for Pokemon Go right now. I've faced 4 Articuno and only beat 2, but I did not end up catching it in my 2 attempts. Then I've only been able to group up once for Lugia, which we had 11 people all together and still couldn't defeat it.
Wow.
Legendaries, man. That 3% catch rate will get you. Thank you, Adam. So how's Pokemon Go going for you, Jason?
It's going good. Yeah, I was that Tuesday or that Saturday of GoFest, I couldn't participate in the festivities all because Amy and I were starting painting. But it looks like I really didn't miss out on much because like it was down.
Yeah.
Like I saw people saying I was down. I'm like, oh, this must be in Chicago.
Right.
So like whenever we were taking a break, I was like, well, I'll just log in, see if anything's happening. And like couldn't even log in. I'm like, frick.
Yeah.
We're back to this stage.
Yep.
Yeah. So then Sunday, Amy had to work, and I had to get some stuff done here. But I was like, I might be able to sneak away and try and go get some legendaries because the rumor was they're only going to be around for 48 hours, and I'm like, I'm not missing out.
Sure.
And I'm typically I had not done a raid before that. I've done like the one star raids for like Magikarp and stuff by myself.
Right.
But I haven't actively gone out for somebody because I'm typically not like a gym guy. I'm not like in the Facebook groups to try and get out there. I don't live in a major city, so it's not like people are always waiting around. So I'm like, I don't have a transfer yet. Yeah, I don't have a transfer yet, so I've always, that's the one way I've been trying to catch ones through the raids, but need a big group. So, I woke up Sunday morning, seeing like crap was going down, and, Lugia and Articuno was all kinds of places, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll try and get one after lunch, after church, and I woke up at like 8 o'clock, and saw some people posting where they're at, and I'm like, all right, well, if somebody says like a group of people are going, I'll just make an approach. And so people are tweeting like, okay, I can go to this one, I can go to this one. And I'm like, all right, I think now's my time to attempt, got to go. So I literally woke up, put a shirt on, put a hat on, and off we went. And got to the red light, and people were saying like, hey, I'm here, where's everybody out? So I'm like, oh shoot, I'm still like 10 minutes away. So I put on a Facebook message, I'm like, hey, let's all aim for a goal like 9 o'clock. Try to organize it. I'm like, we're going to start at 9. Everybody's like, all right, that's fine. So we got like, I think we had 20 people like 3 minutes before 9, so we're like, we got to go now because we have a full group. We beat it. I did not catch it. I had like 7 balls, I think, for Lugia. Did not catch it. Then there was another group heading up to one like in the middle of Lancaster City. So then we're all like, yo, let's go help out them afterwards. So we got on a car, drove up there, parked. We had like 30 people there, so we split into 2 groups. Both groups took like 2 or 3 attempts to finally beat it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we had so much difficulty with that one. Beat it, but I caught that one. Super pumped, got it going.
Sure.
But everybody was super nice because like people couldn't, like I couldn't get logged in at first. Like I was having issues, so everybody like backed out. Let us re-log in. Everybody was getting going. At that point, there was like one we saw like 6 blocks away, another Lugia. So we're like, yo, let's go. And it was just like it was 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning in Lancaster City. It was just a mob of 20 people just walking down the street, and like different, like you could tell who was playing and who was just like, what the heck's going on?
Right.
There was like other mini mobs around, and we get to the other Lugia. And there's a crowd of like 30 people on the other side of the street.
Nice.
So like, we'll just play on this side of the street. No sense in crossing. So like people are like driving like, what the frick is going on? And it's like there's like
is there a parade today?
Yeah, just like turf wars. Like you all stay on your side of the street. So battled that one. We beat it. Didn't get it. Looked on the map. Saw there's an Articuno like 6 blocks to the west. So I'm now like 18 blocks from my car.
Nice.
But there's a group of people I was with who like all parked the same. So it was nice. We all get to walk back to our car.
Sure.
Again with like the low egg and buddy walking, it was like, who cares? We're getting such high eggs. And we went to Articuno. Thankfully caught that. So 10 o'clock Sunday morning, I was like, I'm tapping out. I'm done. Like I got my 2. I have other stuff I need to get going with. So scheduling next Monday. It's gonna be crazy because I think next Monday Articuno is still gonna be there while Moltres also joins the fray. While Lugia should be here. So there should be 3 of them.
Nice.
But I've heard some people say that like they happen a lot in the morning and slowly drip off throughout the day.
I've seen them more in the afternoon, personally.
Okay, like I can't go until like 6 o'clock local time.
I've noticed them more in the afternoon.
Okay, because I'm hoping like that we'll still have a large chance.
Yeah.
And it's at the point, especially that's why I told Vince, I'm like, we should go because we might not even really have to coordinate it all because probably a lot of people want to be the first to get it and get it, while we can. So I think Monday night there'll be a bunch of people, so we'll just have to show up and drive around the city, find a group, and just that was the nice thing. That's why I tell people like a lot of time we're trying to find them. Like just go somewhere it's populated. You'll probably find a group and just walk around as a group. Yeah. Everybody, because you have to work with everybody, so everybody's working together with it.
Yeah, I need to get on it and get it done. I've seen them all week, but I've been working and whatnot, and don't have time to stop and coordinate with people. I will say, Sunday when I realized that they were happening, I was downtown with my daughter. We were going to the library, and I just happened to pull it up, and like I saw a gym a couple blocks away, and it was Articuno, and I'm like, all right, let's go check this out. And I was still not really. I wasn't fully invested because like we were driving and like we were going to the library, and she didn't want to like hang around and just like do whatever. So it was out in front of a church, on a Sunday, midday, and I pull up and I park like right across the street from it because there's a bunch of people hanging out front. And the only other time I've done a raid with somebody, it was by accident. I pulled up to a Machamp and somebody else was parked in front of me, and I just threw in my raid pass, and they were already started. So, like, I just jumped in, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is perfect how this works. So when I pull up to the Articuno, and I see this group of people all looking at their phones, I'm like, okay, obviously they're all doing the raid. I'm going to jump in here with this, right? So I wait like a few seconds. I'm checking it out. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to be social right now. Like, I'm not that invested, but if it's going on, I definitely want to be a part of it type of thing. I kind of had a Leroy Jenkins moment, because I just threw in my raid pass, and I just like, okay, I'm going. And like, I'm picking my Pokemon, and I'm like going in my backpack and like adjusting, potions and whatnot. And then I start battling, and I was like, oh no, I'm the only one in here. And everybody's like looking at me. I'm like, oh no. Like people are start frantically like going, and then by this point, I'm already 3 Pokemon down. Like it was a disaster. And like I was like, well, bye guys, I'm out of here.
It was fun with because like everybody's trying to pick like this optimal lineup.
Yeah.
And the thing that was fun was like there's one guy who brought like 2 of his kids, like they're like maybe like 6 and 7 in, and so like there's people with like. There was one guy already had the Lugia, like the first battle he did, was battling that, and we got like golems and some Blissey stuff. And there was like the kid had like a Hoothoot.
Sure, why not, kid?
Yeah, so out there. The funniest thing that we kept saying was because now they let you like jump back in, like even after your Pokemon fall, and so then it was funny. We're yelling at people, we're like, "Oh, who should we pick?" We're like, just take the recommended lineup and go. Like, don't waste time.
Right.
Because, like, sometime we're running out. So that's what we kept saying. We're like, if your Pokemon breeds, send it out,
Whatever.
So, like, some people were, like, sending Weedles out there just getting one-hit kills.
Sure. Anything helps. Yeah. Pokemon Go, man. It's fun.
I'll say I'm down to I did get my Corsola with my airplane delay, which we won't get into that whole story.
No.
But best airplane delay slot ever. Got that. I still need Dragonite.
Okay.
Ampharos. Unknown. Porygon 2. Hitmontop, and Tyranitar.
Yeah.
That's the last non-regionals I need.
Nice. I need...
I got like 7 Dragonite candy though from like walk-in, but
nice. I need a Lapras. I know that. Hold on, pulling it up here. I just got a Chansey today, and because of the candy bonus, like I had enough to evolve it, so I got a Blissey out of it also. So that was awesome. So the non-regionals from the first Lapras, and then the 3 legendaries, of course, and then Mewtwo,
sure.
Whatever. I need, the Ampharos?
Yeah, Ampharos.
Yeah. Need that sucker. Unknown. I'm just about enough to evolve the Pineco into the Fortress.
Oh, nice. Yep.
And of course I don't have the Heracross. 222. What's 222? You're in 225.
225 is Delibird, which is not out
Okay.
yet.
Are they holding that one like they did with Ditto?
I think it deals with its move set. Like I don't think they can it doesn't work in the game mechanic or something.
Gotcha.
So it's not really like Ditto. I think they're just trying to figure out how they want to release it, but that one they're like, we can't literally make it do its normal attacks.
Sure.
Corsola is 222.
Okay.
That's the Equator one.
235.
235 is Smurgle. That's also one they haven't figured out how they're going to do yet.
Cool. And then I still need Miltank. And the Tyranitar. So, which I have 77 candies on my Pupitar. So,
how you getting all those? Catching them?
I evolved or hatched an egg for the Lavatar, and I got like 40 plus candies for it. Just
nice.
Yesterday. So,
dang,
nice boost.
Yeah, I had so many eggs at the beginning, and I've been using so many incubators, and then like I went to like 15 Pokestops, and I've been empty, dry, and I finally got 2 today, but I'm like, it's too late now.
Yeah. Anyway, Jason, it's been a show, my friend.
It hasn't.
Where can people find you on the internet?
You can always follow me personally on Twitter, twitter.com/Jason Inquires. Jason Inquires is also the handle for Instagram and Facebook, so you can always check it out over there. Also, you can always head to Brick Inquirer and Skylanders Inquirer for your Toys Life-centric news.
Sure, and you'll be doing that Buzz Lightyear giveaways next week?
Yes, yeah, should be on next Monday, hopefully.
Cool. So
I got distracted. Any of your incubated eggs, even though the vent's over, are staying at that.
I noticed that, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a couple still working, so.
I have 2.
I appreciate that. You can find me personally on Twitter at The Noise. That's with a Y. Follow the show on Twitter at Toys for Games. You could email us like Adam did. Podcast at toysforgames.com. Website is toysforgames.com, of course. And if you'd like to support us and what we're doing here for you guys, the listening audience, we have hopefully some good changes on the horizon coming up here shortly. So stay on the lookout for that. Everybody, thank you for supporting us already, including our show sponsor, Devin Lachinsky, and everybody else. You could support us on Patreon, patreon.com/toysforgames. That being said, Jason, thank you as always, my friend, for another wonderful show. Until next time we speak, my friends, get out there, get that Pikmin amiibo tomorrow. And until next time, happy hunting, collectors.